Welcome to this global bar celebration today. Katarina Valentin joining me here from Sweden today. Thank you so much for being my co-host today and celebrating this day together.
Yes, and it's just beginning, obviously. We like not even 1 minute in. We're already going.
So, for all of you online and all our amazing pops around the world, I just went through the back end and I saw how many thousands of people around the world already signed up to listen to this today. We have 19 languages. Hello and welcome, everyone. My language skills are unfortunately not enough to greet you in 19 different languages. But we also have what we call satellite classes or POPs, parties of possibilities, where people invited friends to swap bars sessions and listen to this. And probably some of our backend team can give us some information on how many POPs and where in the world they are. And I think we are literally live on every continent right now, which makes me very, very proud. But these are some numbers to the back end. Now let's get into this thing called access bars. Katarina, how long are you already enjoying the gift of receiving bar sessions?
Yeah, I was thinking of that right before. Like, when did I receive my first bar session? I think it's 16 years ago now, and there hasn't been a single week when I haven't got my bars run, and often more than that. So I've received and gifted like tens of thousands of bar sessions. It's quite amazing. And at this point, my whole body and being just knows that when I lay down and somebody puts their hands on my head, we're going. And maybe that's where we start today. Because if there's people on here who've just joined us who doesn't even know what bars is, we actually wanted to start by showing a video of what bars is.
I think that's a great idea to let the world know what is it? Getting your bars run. Are you running? Is it a workout? Is it a massage? Do I need to take my clothes off? All these questions that are spinning around in your heads, we will share the video soon. What it actually is for me is an incredible way of relaxing your brain. It's the ultimate gift for creative people who have difficulties turn off their minds and being concentrated or doing yoga classes without constantly taking notes and having new ideas. So
Uh, I just have to jump in then. So David really needs to relax his brain. So that's what it is for him. And bars is this amazing thing that actually also relaxes your whole body. And sometimes when there's a body thing going on, like even something, a back pain, your knee is a little out of whack, and you get your bars run, and because the bars really integrates and relaxes things that are going on in your life, your body, is part of that as well. So not only does it relax your brain, which is great if you're like me and David, who have very active brains, it also relaxes the body. It's my first go-to when something is like a little wacky in my body. I get my bars run and see maybe it's not what I think it is. Maybe it has to do with something completely different. And having my bars run really allows my body and my being to, okay, yeah, maybe we can choose something different here.
well, I think we warmed them up well enough now, Katerina. Everybody's like, what is this? Show us, show us. So, tech team in the backend, are we ready to share with our guests our first video? What is this access bars and what does it mean to get your bars run? Tech team, take it off.
We're starting right now. So you're rolling already. Okay, got it.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, bollocks.
Say something! If I go like full dweeb, you'll just cut it and we'll try again, right?
Say your question again.
It's an effortless technique that invites you to let go of everything that isn't yours. It allows a space to open up, a lightness that may be an invitation to more of you than you ever imagined.
It felt alive and real. So that for me was just gold. I was so happy. It was so gratifying and fulfilling to finally have that feeling and that connection with the universe.
Before bars, I was definitely trying to figure my life out and do it right. With bars in my life, I have the space to choose, to have perspective and enthusiasm.
Whatever that thing is that you have decided can't change, what if it could? And what if it was as easy as lying on a table and receiving a bar session that could start that change?
The sense of hopelessness and desperate anxiety I used to have started to just diminish away, and there was this sense of peace and calmness, which I hadn't had in a long, long time.
One of the most simplest things that you can do, for me, it's self-care. It's something to incorporate in your daily life that opens up so much space.
It gives me like such a sense of peace and ease and such a joy to be here. And I get that I get to be that in the world, not just for me, but for everyone around me.
I think access consciousness in bars is probably one of the best kept secrets that exist out there.
The worst thing that could happen is to just relax. The best thing is you could get the life you know you can have and you deserve.
An invitation to receive and change without the effort and the hardship that we think is required. It's quite a gift to the world and the planet.
I literally would just say go for it.
Do it. Don't wait.
Go for it.
Get your bars run.
Watching that video always creates such a peace in my mind. And thank you for your reminder. I think it's really not just about relaxing the brain. Beautiful introduction of what a bar session can actually create in your body, in your brain, and further on in your life.
And there is a part of the video, I think it's one of the women say, get your bars run. And it's one of the things that once you get your bars run, it really is like when things go a little wonky in life, when you're stuck in something, when you keep thinking of something, and somebody who knows you get your bars run regularly will say, hey, just get your bars run, because they can hear how it's kind of like a loop that we so often do in life. We've learned that we have to figure out this, we have to compute this, we have to, the right answer is there. I'm just going to have to get there. And then you get your bars run, and it takes like an hour. You sit up and you go, how could I make that so relevant? Why did I make that even matter? It's not relevant. So there's such a freedom in your life that comes from getting your bars run.
And that freedom started 30 years ago. For those of you who wonder, and Anthony Mattis beautifully mentioned it in the video, it's one of the best kept secrets. Well, access bars started 30 years ago by a guy called Gary Douglas, who literally had his first bars session in his garage in California. And we have prepared a little video to share with you how this beautiful, brilliant technique came into life. Are we ready for our next video?
I remember the first bars class was out in the converted garage behind the house, and there was, what, 2, 3 people there? 4 people. So if you think that you can't create something, you should look at this.
The first time I did it, I asked the person, okay, so what'd you get out of it? So they said, well, it seems to access a new space of possibility. Every time you touch one of those bars in my head, my life gets better. Bars are 32 different points on the head. It's like a computer bank of all the thoughts, feelings, emotions, attitudes, and considerations you've ever had in your lifetime. They get stored in there. And when you clean them by running the bars, what happens is that deletes the file in that, and suddenly you're different. Your whole life can change. You can change physically, mentally, emotionally, all kinds of different ways. I watch people have these 32 different points run and watch them get up off the table different. And they never go back to being who they used to be.
What does bars mean?
It's like a bar that goes through your head that has all the thoughts that you've ever heard or thought that are not yours stored.
Make that so you like. I like bars.
Me too. It's one of my favorite things in the world because it relaxes me and makes me happy.
And by the way, it's okay to be happy when other people aren't.
Hi everybody, it's Gary.
And Dain, welcome to the Bars class.
No matter how bad you think you are, nobody has ever been worse than me, so if I can do it, so can you.
The only thing that can happen is things get better, and at the worst,
you'll feel like you had a great massage. Best case scenario, your whole life can change.
All I can tell you is when I saw the results, my jaw dropped. I was so astounded. You gotta remember, I've been doing this for 16 years. I have seen brains of every kind and all different kinds of conditions. This is the very first time I was blown away. It takes a lot to blow me away. This blew me away.
I was 30 years old. I was starting my second chiropractic practice. I was living in Santa Barbara, this beautiful paradise, and I was dying inside. I set a date to end my life 6 months in the future. Then I came across something called Access Consciousness because I saw this tiny little ad in the paper that said, "Access, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory."
So I put this tiny little ad in the free local paper, and I hear the phone ring in the other room. Hello. Hi, my name is Dain Heer, and you were so cool. You were like, "I'd really love to check out what you do." And I was like, okay. So I do this stuff called Access, and we would start with the bars. And you're like, cool. So now we got together.
I walked into the session depressed and suicidal with a plan and a date to end my life. I walked out of it an hour and 15 minutes later with a sense of peace and joy and a gratitude for being alive. If it feels like this to be alive, I'm in. Within a few months, I started working for Access Consciousness. And at the point when I started, we were in the United States, Australia, and New Zealand. And we had 2 facilitators. Now we're in 176 countries. We have almost 13,000 facilitators.
Actually, the bars make you feel comfortable. You can do them and they really relax you, make you calm, comfort. It's a whole lot of things that the bars can do, and it can unlock energy that you don't really need. It felt like a new world started. It felt like you were being reborn.
The kids just turned into these little puddles of love. I saw how the kids would become more concerned with the other children in the room. And I didn't see as much separation between the boys and the girls.
One father came to me to said, "Oh, my daughter, I got home today and I was very stressed." And my daughter said, "Dad, come here. I'm gonna do bars and you're gonna be relaxed." And how come my daughter are teaching me how to be more relaxing? There is a boy, he autistic. He didn't want to do the sessions. And after 3 weeks, I asked him, "Do you want to try today?" And he said, with his head, we start to relax a little bit, and he started to communicate more, drawing more. The teacher was so happy, the family was so happy too.
Hi, my name is Leah. I'm 10 years old. I live in Mexico City, and I'm a bars facilitator. I learned that I'm not wrong. I can be bright and I can shine, even though the others choose what they choose. In the school, we had to do a project about conflicts and how to solve them, and mine was very different. Mine has like questions, how does it get any better, and get your words wrong. You need to communicate and ask to solve conflict.
My very first bars class, that I thought I was able to teach almost 100 girls in Nepal. Seeing them relax for the first time in like a long time, it was so moving. But I was able to give them something that contributes for the rest of their life. When you spread the sparks in the world and light them fire, I think that's a really cool thing to do. So I'm very inspired to do that.
I graduated from law school with a human rights degree, and I worked in human rights. I saw a lot of places that I didn't like the way they treated women back then. I hated men and I hated myself. The first session of war, I was like, I don't need to fight in. And the first year, like, no one heard about the wars in the area. First class I had 0 participants. Second one, there was 6. And then the numbers started to multiply, like till this day. It's like I started June 2016. In 2018, the law that allowed women to drive, it was enacted. What I love about Access the Bars is like it is the infinite possibilities. I can't know what is going to happen, but I can assure you the possibilities is just going to come.
I was wondering what would be an interesting way to introduce the Access Bars to a completely different crowd of people. 2 weeks before my show opened, all the bars session appointments were all booked up.
It's an amazing gift to give the world, but it's an amazing gift to give someone, and for them to have that place where they could start to create their lives. It opens the door to receiving everything you actually know. You may be the one person that comes out with an idea that changes the world. Don't give up. If everybody in the world could be present as themselves and never judge themselves, this would be a world worth living in. And that's what I want to create.
We're back.
We are back from our journey around the world, 170 plus countries, and so many areas people started using these tools. And I think, Katerina, we do have some of those numbers available. Where can you find a Bars facilitator, and how many are there around the world?
Well, I mean, if you talk about Bars facilitators, there's like nearly 14,000 Bars Bars practitioners. No, Bars facilitators. I think it's like 14,000 Bars facilitators. But the number that got me so excited is that if we look at how many people who are a Bars practitioner, which means that you've taken a Bars class at any time, there's nearly 750,000 people all around the world that has taken a Bars class that actually can run bars. Who knows how many times they've done it, but they have.
Talking about taking a Bars class, how long does it take to learn how to give a session? Can you just give a very short recap? How do you learn to run bars?
Well, to learn, I mean, the Bars class is one day, one single day, and you get to run bars twice and you get to receive bars twice during that day. And then you become a Bars practitioner. Not a facilitator is one who can teach that class, and you can become that too. But if we start with just becoming a Bars practitioner, just knowing how to run bars, you're able to swap with anyone all around the world. And a session takes around 45 minutes, an hour, I would say, and it can be shorter. If you don't have time, half an hour bars or 20-minute bars is better than no bars. So it's so easy, one single day. And we actually you can take these classes in person all around the world with one of those 14,000 Bars facilitators, but you can also take this class online. You can actually sign up with a partner and you can learn to run bars online. And we have a class coming up in the beginning of June with Dr. Dain Heer. Or you can you can find somebody in your area, it's just like one single day to give yourself and your body to learn how to run bars.
So once you learned how to run bars and become a Bars practitioner, what are the possibilities for you? What can you do with the ability to run bars? What are the areas that people use it in?
Well, you can use it in all kinds of areas, including, run with friends and family. But one thing that we've been exploring the last few years is how to bring bars into businesses, into schools, into organizations, into the military, bring it to all kinds of different areas of life here on the planet, basically. And we call it Bars in business, but that word business really means any kind of business.
Well, I think we started it as Bars in business during the COVID pandemic. There was such a big reach out to us because everybody was so stressed. But I think maybe after this, it's time to rename it because it goes way beyond business. Offering these 45 to 1 hour sessions to every area in life where people are concerned and stressed is the greatest gift. And I think we have another video for our guests today where we give them an overview of what are the possibilities once you know how to run bars and give a bar session. Bars in Business is a program for more mental wellness in businesses. The Access Bars is a hands-on technique where a facilitator touches certain points on your head and by doing so creates this incredible space of relaxation for your brain for 45 minutes to reload their batteries, to de-stress and to go back to work fully recovered, like a 6-hour deep sleep.
I work with Access Consciousness now and have for quite a few years, so I'm lucky that it's actually already part of my business and part of everyday life. Before here, I worked for almost 15 years in animal welfare and different roles working, where it was quite a stressful environment, and we didn't have anything like that. Like, no one ever really talked about taking care of you. And I think bars could create a force of people that loved what they did a lot more and were more productive and more happy to get up and go to work. It's a space opener, and I think really in the end it would just create a happier world.
I love to get my bars run because it helps me focus. I have an increased sense of vitality when other people are really stressed. I was always performing well because of it. For me, it just creates a sense of peace in my world.
So the Bars in Business is so much about creating more ease in the workforce, but not just in the workforce, in your life. I wrote a book called Joy of Business. So for me, it's like your whole entire life is your business and your business is your life. Like I always say, if you wake up in the morning and you have blood running through your veins, you're in business, because how are you choosing your life? So for me, instituting bars into your life on a regular basis is such a contribution.
Now I've been using bars for about 15, 16 years, and ultimately it just creates so much more relaxation and focus and peace in my world, and I see it as such a valuable tool and technique. When you're trying to solve a problem or dealing with high stress situations, sometimes you just need to step away for a moment and gain some perspective and relax a little bit, and then when you approach the situation with a bit more vitality and a bit more perspective, bars is invaluable in those cases.
Happy people make for a happier world, and I would just invite everyone to look at how we can have more happy people in the world, and Bars in Business is definitely one of those.
It helps me reset. You don't have the highs and lows emotionally that you would typically get without getting my bars run. So I notice it right away, and it really helps me with a lot of things in my life outside of that.
You don't have to be miserable. Just because you're in business doesn't mean that you have to be unhappy. You can literally choose joy in business.
It's like I have the helicopter view of what's going on within the business rather than getting lost in the woods. And bars absolutely contributes to that.
Access bars is a very unique method. Try it out, give it a try. 45 minutes and you will know.
And we're actually going to continue on this theme. We're going to have one of the beautiful men in the video with a beard, Shon, and our beautiful host here, David, are going to do a little conversation right now about athletes and bars. And here he is, Shon, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Good morning, good early morning, Shon. Thank you so much for joining us in the US time zone here. And thank you. We just saw you in the video beautifully explaining what a bar session actually does for stressed people in an office environment. But the reason why you our guest today is probably not the business word, because you were brave enough to take access bars even further to an area where you actually don't want to relax and sleep and kind of recover. You want to go into the peak performance and perform as faster and quicker and better than ever before. You are the one who is leading bars for athletes. So how can you use a method that relaxes you when you actually want to pump yourself up to win the Olympics?
Exactly. It's counterintuitive to most athletes, I would say. For them, it's about force and it's about performance, right? And how does bars tie into that? Well, it has been a really fun journey, and it's been a team of people that have been involved, not just me, but Yeah, we have seen some remarkable results from some of the athletes. I mean, so we did a big CrossFit event called the Argentina Throwdown back in December, where we looked at we ran bars on over 60 different athletes, and we actually did some studies. The the person down there that helps us out, her name is Adriana, and she's the one bringing us in and did the studies, right? And what was interesting at the beginning of this was during the event or right before, we looked at things like perceived level of stress in the moment, where 71% of the athletes were experience extreme stress. And after their 20 or 30-minute bar session, they were 81% came back and said that they had perceived very little. Anxiety is obviously a big thing for athletes as they get prepared for their competition. And before it was 86% were extreme, and after it was 95% reported low or no stress. So it's not only helping these athletes from a stress level that they experienced before or during competition, but we also looked at physical fatigue, where 67% had reported extreme fatigue. And after only 20 to 30 minutes, 71% reported low, 29% reported moderate. So not only is it helping with the anxiety, but also from the fatigue aspect of the performance, we saw some really cool results there too. So it's amazing what it does.
Well, we have Adriana as our guest later on here as well to share her experience.
Oh, cool.
What I'm curious, I think this was not a one-off event. You're already planning another participation. What is coming
We
up for
are.
Bars for Athletes? And where is it?
So this will be in Florianopolis, Brazil. It's called the Copasur 2026. It is the semifinal for these CrossFit athletes. We'll have over 200 athletes there, 15,000 spectators. It's in a massive facility there. And that is May 1st through May 3rd.
So are you going to run bars there? Are you part of the team? How did you manage to bring a modality like access bars into the organization? How do you set it up during the event?
That's a great question. And again, you're going to talk with Adriana. She's the one who is helping it. She is our biggest advocate and has rolled out the red carpet for this event. So we're doing a couple things. And the first thing we're doing is one of Gary's requests was, it's great to do it during, run bars during the event. But what if we could get a few athletes to come in before and see, people who might be struggling or just not in peak performance at the moment. And so we put out an email, Adri did, and within 1 day, we had over 16 athletes reply wanting to get a bar session. So we'll have sessions going before and we'll do surveys for them. And then during the event, we will have right outside of the competition floor. And these are extreme athletes. If you don't know anything about CrossFit, look at it. It's a professional level sport and it's growing. So right off the competition floor, we'll have a bunch of beds where athletes can go straight from competition and get their bars run. We do 20, 30-minute sessions. We'll have booths around the facility. It's massive, where just regular spectators can go and get a free trade. And then we've got some really cool things happening during it where we have Ricky Williams, who is a professional athlete, former Heisman Trophy winner. He is going down to do a speech on the second day, which is May 2nd at 7:30 p.m. To talk to everyone about not only bars, but access tools. And then on the last day, which is May 3rd, we are a friend of mine, Danny, and myself, we are having a bars class in the auditorium where Ricky would speak as well. And 700 people can sit in that auditorium. So we're looking forward to a really big turnout. But that's kind of the schedule and everything we got going on.
That sounds amazing. You mentioned that Adriana was the one initiating it. So
Yeah.
as we have thousands of people listening to us, what if there is another Adriana who probably is a professional football player, baseball player, you name it. How would they get started with their own project with Bath and Athletes? Do they reach out to you? What would you suggest for people who want to copy what Adriana did? Can they? That is the
They
first question.
can. If they go to we're working on the website for Bars for Athletes at the moment, but they can go to Bars and Business, and we've got a landing page there. You can reach out to myself or Megan or David. You can bring him, and we can get everything and help you get everything set up, from social, from points of contact, to other bars practitioners in your area that you can have come and help. We have so many resources. And David, you've just been awesome with Bars and Business and getting all of that aligned. It just makes all of our life easier. So yes, we can definitely help if there's anyone out there who's got some really cool events they'd like us to be a part of as it comes to athletes.
So you mentioned a new website, Bars for Athletes. When can we hope to get a first sneak peek?
We should probably within the next month.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Last question, Shon, before we
Yes.
directly go to the interview with Adriana. A lot of professional athletes, I mean, football clubs, hockey clubs, they have their own private doctors, and they're all very much interested in research. Is there research going on, especially for increasing your performance with access bars, or is that something that hasn't started yet?
That's in motion. So at all of the two events, the one that we have come, or the one that we've done with the Argentina Throwdown, and then the Copa Sur, we're doing kind of our own research at the moment. It's not this reality's research of a medical doctor doing it, but as the athletes get their sessions, we're talking to them before. We've got a whole list of questions that we asked before. What were the results after? So that's been the majority of our research so far, for the Bars for Athletes side, but we have some other stuff in the works.
So there's a lot in the works. Shon,
There is.
thank you so much for making us appetite for more. I will definitely be watching out for the website and poking you to get it up and running. And I hope also that you will come back from Florianopolis, from the Copa Sur event, with lots of more updates and information. Shon, thank you
We
so much
will.
for joining me here. And as we just spoke so much about Adriana, the lady who literally initiated that access bars can actually start this direction, was interviewed by Katerina Valentin. And I think, well, let's just listen now to what Adriana has to share with us about bars for
So
athletes.
joining me now is Adriana, and she has been redefining what the human body is capable of doing after 40 years old. She is a former professional athlete, a coach, and currently the event director for Copa Sur, which is the Latin American CrossFit Games semifinal. And in 2025, she bridged the gap between elite competition and alternative recovery by introducing access bars to hundreds of athletes and thousands of spectators across Brazil and Argentina. So today, or right now, we'll be exploring how the bars could be like a secret weapon for faster regeneration, injury prevention, and mental focus for athletes. So welcome, Adriana.
Thank you so much, Kat, for this introduction. Yes, I did it.
You did. Well, so let's start with you. Like, how did bars contribute or change the way you be with your body and how you be with the athletic parts of your body?
Wow, that was a huge difference in my life. I was in the pre-season, 1 week the competition season starts. I was preparing myself. And as athletes, we are always asking for something new. We are always making questions, asking, what can help me recover better? You know, we are all seeking for something as athlete. I was actually, I will speak for myself. I was always seeking for something to help me to recover better, to sleep better. And one day, Access Bars came through by the person that was a friend of mine. She's a really good friend of mine. She invited me to make part of conversation with women's conversations. And in that moment, someone between this group of women, she was talking about bars. And my body says that, you know, when your body just says something for you, what is that? Access bars.
Yeah.
And she just give me some a little explanation. You must to find someone close you to run the bars and blah blah blah. My body just say to me, go there, you know. And wow, was a game change. Literally, literally talking about game was a game change for me. I was preparing myself for the competition season, and my body just was doing great, completely different from another moment of my life. And I just realized that, like, okay, the only thing I am doing different is bars. I will keep doing this, and after competition season, I will make more researches about it. Simple like
Oh, that's amazing. So just like, so when you then were working with the CrossFit semifinal and you put these elite, athletes on the table, how was it like, how was that for them? What was their reaction when they got this process run for the first time? And how long was it? How did you do it? How did you introduce it to the athletes?
I invite them to join for the first time at the Copa Sur as event director. I invite them to join us for this recovery tool. Just telling them, look, you go lie down, someone will touch your head, and you just recover better. You will sleep better this night. And for the Copa Sur, I asked them, okay, if you have done all your competitions during the day, you can come here later and get a longer session. But if you have a competition to do during the day, if you are in between competitions, you can join us to have a 20 minutes, 30-minute session. And that was amazing. They were so surprised when they were talking with me after that. They just was, wow, what is that? I like so much. I'm feeling full recovery. I'm ready to go for the competition floor again and crash. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was like this. They were excited.
Well, then in Argentina, I think you also did a survey, right? In addition to actually providing or offering bars, you did a survey. So what did that survey show? What did you find when you were asking questions about sleep and recovery?
Wow, the results. We are not looking for results, I know, but the results of the survey was amazing, Kat. They show me what I was perceiving since first time I get my bars run. And the survey showed me, oh, okay, this is amazing tool for everybody in the sport world, because the result was amazing. They was feeling much less anxiety after bars, more focus. The mental clarity was very high after bars, and even their bodies was perceiving the recovery effects of the bars, the session. All of them were surprised. And one thing, one piece here for me was huge. In Argentina, I made it in the competition environment. you know, was two floor, and the floor 0, let's say, was the competition floor. In the first floor here in the open area was a public area for everybody watch the athletes there. I build this place for them there. So was in their environment with very loud music, a lot of people going through everywhere. And even in this environment, the athletes go in the table and they shut down. They might just get calmer, calmer, calmer. Some of them told me after, I slept during the session. It was amazing. Was beautiful, and they were very well recovered and perceiving their body ready to go again. This was awesome.
That's amazing. That's truly so amazing. Also in that environment, and also the sessions were not that long, right? Is that correct? Like 15, 20 minutes?
Maximum 30, was between 20 to 30. So in Argentina, when I built the questionnaire, I was perceiving my body, asking to my body, what questions should I ask them, and how long the session must take. I was following my body. I make questions and I perceive yes and no. Go here, go there. This is the maximum. And I got it. Okay, it's maximum for these athletes is 30 minutes because they are in competition. They have a more event to do after. If their day is done, that's okay, get a longer. But if not, maximum 30 minutes. And it was amazing.
You also talked about connecting energetically with like equipment, like barbells. And this is so fascinating. How does that mental energetic connection lead to more effective training?
I'm so grateful for access consciousness to open the new door, a new way, a new universe of possibilities for me. And every single day is the same. Today, I did exactly what you are talking about now. I did in my morning session today. Was a huge session, heavy session with heavy weights and gymnastic skills, movements. And I was alone at this place where I were training, the CrossFit gym, completely alone, 6 a.m. in the morning. And I was connecting myself with all the equipment, everything there. And I just asked my body, lower my berries. And I asked to my body to expand, to my being to expand out and perceive the energy of the equipment. And I get it. Before I lift from the floor 125 kilos in the barbell today, I was perceiving the plates, the bar, and very fast. This is not long. I was there. I just opened my arms and I perceived the equipment. And I perceive in my body, that's okay. Go there. Lift it. You are good. This is okay for you. You know? It's funny. And yes, I do this. This ability, everybody has it, is for free. And this is a prevention. And I'm talking with my colleagues and with some athletes that I can. This is for free, and this can prevent injuries. So you can ask. You are allowed to ask. You don't need to pay for ask them to contribute with you. and to let your body know if this weight is good for your body, if it not.
Mm.
And when I when I perceive something, I ask questions. This is mine. This is not mine. Who does it belong to? And I perceive this is with me, or I am picking up something, someone else thoughts, about what's going on. And this is gold for us athletes. This is gold, We can,
It's like working with your body.
In deep connection with the body, and also aware about what's going on here. I'm going to the competition floor after years. I qualified for the semifinal for the CrossFit Games in my age category. I got this spot, so I'm so happy with this. And I will be competing in the official competition, a big competition in June. Wow. And I know that will be in Colombia, in Medellin, Colombia, in June. So I'm preparing already my body to be aware what is going on around me. And bars allows me to be deeply connected with my body and at the same time aware about what's going on around me. I'm here in my lane to do my movements, to beat them, and in the same time, I am working to do this, connect with the equipment, and aware who is coming here, who is passing faster than me, and in the same time, completely focus with what I am doing. Wow. And I cannot express my gratitude for Access, because of my athlete's career and my joy, the joy to be athlete and to do workouts and to move my body, and not with more detox, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. No, it's not mine. Who does this belong to, For me, it's just joy and fun and, enjoying my life. This is amazing.
Wow. That is so beautiful. We could go on exploring forever, and we're going to have to round it up. And that was such a good place to end on. Thank you so much for coming on and for really inviting people to start using bars to get in that deep communion with their bodies and actually start having a conversation with their bodies. Thank you so much, Adriana.
Thank you so much, Kat, for your time. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're back a little quickly. I just want to take a moment and take you further on, because now we're going to go to Asia. We're going to have an interview where David talks about how you can bring bars also to hospitals and even just specifically for doctors. And right after that, we're just going to take a moment, like 5 minutes, and just be with how bars are all over the world. So first to Asia and then a little worldwide tour.
And today, now I have the great honor to interview my amazing friend Ryan T, who is originally from Malaysia, started his first bar session, I think it was over 15 years ago, and has since then explored, and I want to say conquered, the Asian world with his bars classes, creating miracles in the entire Australasian area. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you so much for being on today.
Hello, David. Thank you for that. And hi, everyone.
So Ryan always goes into the beyond. And what I love about him, that whenever people go, this is too difficult, this is not possible, this is where he starts. And what he did for Access Bars, he actually facilitated an entire bars class for more than 10 medical doctors. One area that a lot of people have difficulties with, because they always think that doctors don't believe in energy. So Ryan, you made the impossible possible. You facilitated a class only for doctors. Can you just share how did this come along that you had 10 doctors asking you to give them a bars class?
Well, I know them for about 2 years. So started about 2 years ago. I started to attend some trainings about body work. And so that's where those doctors, they knew me. And I would say one thing is you don't try to sell access bars. You don't try to sell consciousness. So I was never, even for once, like telling them that, hey, this is what you should do, but because people might see that as like you are like trying to show them you are much greater, and then they also maybe from their side, maybe they also think that, oh, whatever I'm doing, this is the best, so don't sell it, don't sell access. Like Gary said, that you cannot sell access. You can also, you can only invite people to more possibilities. And how do you invite? Just by what you be. So what do I mean by that? So after they knew me for 1 year plus, then they started to have some curiosities about what I was doing. So they asked me, and I showed them what they could receive. Okay, don't show people everything just because they ask you one simple question like, what do you do? And then you start telling them like all the stories for 2 hours. And then they also saw that, like, because sometimes I was like helping them with a few things, like let's say they're like, oh, I think I'm having some pain or something, and they're like, okay, let me try something with you, and then they're like, oh, that's amazing, and again, I still didn't sell them anything. I'm like, oh yeah, so that's it, and then finally they asked me like, hey, we really want to learn this from you. And some of them, they have already heard about access bars from other places, but they didn't get a chance to learn, or maybe the timing was just not right for them because they are very busy. And well, universe has its own sense of timing, and its own, so that day, I just canceled a class in Taiwan, and about 1 hour later, so they asked me like, hey, we want to learn from you. When do you have a class? I'm like, I just canceled a class, so they just became available. And then they're like, yes, we want that. So that's how it got created. That's how it got started.
So a year and a half, almost 2 years of engaging and being present with them. And what I love about you, Ryan, you really had the patience to wait until they ask. And of course, there was this one day that you were available, and then everybody said, okay, we'll make it. So when you started that bars class, what was different? Was it different than a normal bars class? How did you get to work with just doctors in the room?
Honestly, before I started that class, I had a lot of like all kind of thoughts like, what is it that they can hear, they cannot hear? What is it that they want? So I intentionally made that class all about only for them, so that we can talk about like how to use access bars to help themselves to contribute to their own lives, and also to their clients if that's what they choose to do, and if that's what their clients can receive. So that's the intention for that class. And it turned out that that class, it was very easy, very simple. And I would even say that they receive bars and also that class very, very well. It's like one of the bars classes that I have facilitated that it was the most well received. So I was shocked, I was surprised, and of course I was very happy about that.
And
So
you told me one
don't
very
assume-
funny thing. You mentioned
Sorry.
that they had difficulty finding the points. How did you resolve that?
Well, it's not that they had difficulty in finding the points. it's more like some of them, they are not so used to this energy work. So yes, they found the points. They knew like where to put their fingers, but it's like some of them, they're like, just like many other people, like at first we are like, oh, I'm not so sure if I'm having my fingers at the right place, like I couldn't feel energy. But it's not that they couldn't feel energy. I mean, some of them, they felt it right away, and some of them, I could sense that they actually felt it, but they're like, I'm not so sure like if this is the correct way of feeling the energy. So I have to use their language. So I asked them like, okay, so like if by having let's say having your fingers here, like how do you feel? What do you feel? And then so if you just tell them about the lightness, the heaviness, that might not be their language. But so I asked them like, okay, what do you feel here? And it was funny. One of the doctors, he described it this way, like, oh yeah, it's like I'm touching a dead body if there's no energy. And it's like I'm touching someone that's alive. If I feel the energy, I'm like, great. So you do feel it, but you use a very different language in your mind, and yeah, to understand that. So I'm like, okay, so go with that. So I didn't insist, oh yeah, you must feel the energy, the tingling sensation. No, I didn't do that.
Wonderful. So after the Bars test, did you get any feedback from the doctors? Are they using it, or how are they using it? Have you kept up with them?
So at the end, I still remember at the end of that day, a few of them, they say like, wow, this is like a very relaxing day. Like I can imagine normally they might be very, very stressed. So they're like, wow, we should do this more. And then I didn't really keep up with all of them, but I heard from them, like some of them from time to time, or maybe I saw their social media platform and I saw that what they were doing. And some of them, they really used what they learned from the Bars class, not just the Bars itself, because now in the Access Bars one day class, we have so many tools to deal with many things. And those that they use it, yeah, they have good result. So once again, I'm very happy about that.
Wonderful, Ryan. Thank you so much for opening up that gateway. Hospitals, doctors, it's considered the most difficult area to get in, but thank you for proving all of us wrong. And I'm sure if anyone out there has questions, ideas, or friends in hospital, you would be the go-to person to get inspired how to even invite medical doctors to something called energy, which we all know it isn't. So thank you so much, Ryan, for going there. Thank you so much for taking one for the team. And please, please keep going and keep being the gift that you are using Access Bars in your daily work. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.
Well, this was a little sneak peek on where else Access Bar sessions are possible. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone out there who is actually taking Access Bars to all those areas where other people might consider it difficult. And one person that I'm actually very, very honored to present to all of you today is Vanessa Kalo, who is using access bars also in a medical area. She has started offering this technique to her recovery programs. Before I get the honor to interview Vanessa here, we have prepared a little video of the brilliant and amazing work she has done.
Hello everyone, I am Vanessa from Phoenix, Arizona. I am an Access Bars facilitator. I've been spreading the bars since 2019, and I am really grateful to have recently been bringing the bars to addiction recovery centers and opening all the possibilities. And so I am very enthused and excited to share with you all some of the stories from them of possibilities and change that it has created. What else is possible, and how does it get better than this?
Hello, my name is Lily, and I just wanted to check in with you guys to let you know how Access Bars has impacted my life in my recovery. In the beginning of recovery, I had a lot of anxiety, and I couldn't handle my stress or manage a lot of things that were coming at me on a daily basis. And Access Bars has helped me to calm down. It's gotten me to get in touch with my creative side. It's opened up areas of my life that have allowed me to be at peace. And I would recommend Access Bars to anybody that is struggling in recovery or needs a way to relax from anxiety and stress.
I just wanted to say that I am usually 100% resistant to anything holistic. I kind of always thought it was like hippie stuff. I never believed it could do any good. What good is having someone touch points on my head gonna do for me? Having said that, I've had multiple sessions of Access Bars done with Vanessa, and I am a believer. I instantly feel a difference afterwards. The tightness in my chest is gone, and my anxiety is at a very low point.
Hi, my name is Jason Hathaway, and this video is about my experience with this therapy exercise called the bars. My experience with the bars was pretty life-changing. I'm always annoyed, stressed, I move around a lot, and after experiencing bars, it calmed me down and I was able to think.
Access bars are amazing. It changed my brain, this recovery healing practice. I needed a new energy, a new restart, a new reboot, and Access Bars was my reboot. It helped calm me. It gave me true electric energy that I needed.
Hi, I'm Michael, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys about something I just recently learned about. It's called the Access Bars, and it's actually really helped me with my recovery. It's been very calming, it's almost like meditation, and I really think it's something that you should check out. I would say it's similar to acupuncture, and if you're into natural holistic teachings and in recovery, it's very beneficial, and you will try it and that you enjoy it. My
name's Jesus Torres. Thank you for giving me this platform to share my story. For me, I met Vanessa, and she started performing her therapy of bars every week. And as she continued doing it, I started to feel peace. I started seeing the anxiety that I was having go away. And I started feeling better to the point where I was able to get the strength to be able to overcome my dependency.
My name is Daniel. I just wanted to give you guys a little rundown of my experience of Access Bars. I actually had been dealing with some depression, anxiety. I can tell you that just the whole experience itself really, it really helped me push through a lot of those things that were troubling me. I don't have anxiety anymore. My depression is gone. I feel amazing. Just give it a chance, you know, give it a shot, and I promise you, you won't regret it.
Hi, my name is Sammy. I use Access Bars all the time. I've been using it for about a year now. I use it to help reduce stress. I use it for anxiety. I use it for my depression. It's pretty much my go-to anytime I need to ground myself and regulate my emotions. I would definitely recommend it for anybody who's in recovery, especially addiction recovery. it helps so much with the day-to-day challenges that we have with that. So check it out.
And I now have the honor to talk to the person who made these miracles possible. Vanessa, welcome to the Bar Celebration Day. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, David. It's an honor in return.
Vanessa, seeing this, when I first saw this video, there were so many ways that surprised me with what you did. And I know I received back-end messages that I only have 10 minutes with you because I could literally go on with you forever. You broke so many areas open that I would say, as a European lawyer, I would have never thought would be possible. The people you interviewed are absolutely not the stereotype of people who would actually believe in a spiritual energy work. You using it officially in recovery. How did you get started? How did you master all these different tasks to finally go and run a session on your patients?
So I technically was contracted by a clinic. And the way that it began was actually because of the Access Bars. I facilitated a class back in 2021 where a participant was an owner of hospice hospitals at that time. And she was looking into changing into something different. And she calls me about maybe 6 months after her Access Bars class. And, she calls me and she tells me, you remember how you told me, that you were open to collaborating and to opening possibilities together. And I said, yeah, you ready? I'm very curious what it could do in hospice. And she's like, well, guess what? I'm not doing hospice anymore. I've changed into behavioral health. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. And the energy was very inviting, just whatever this was, because I never, ever in my life imagined being involved in addiction recovery. And so she tells me, well, I'm doing behavioral health and I want to open an addiction recovery clinic. And I wanted to have an integrative, holistic component to it. And I'd love to see what the Access Bars can do. And when she mentioned it, at the moment I was living in Puerto Rico, she was in Arizona. And I'm like, you're in there's so many other people in Arizona. And she's like, no, I feel the energy is you. It's got to be you. And I said, okay, well then let's do it. And I went ahead and started with that clinic. I'm now at my second clinic that I brought this to. And it just, the possibilities, David, it is more than I could have ever imagined. So it actually found me in a way. That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Well, and having you here live on this interview, your enthusiasm, of course, that they only wanted you. We are streaming this worldwide, especially here, in the old-fashioned Europe, where a lot of people are hesitant to go to areas in the medical sector because they always think they need studies and they need proof and they need whatever scientific research. Did you need any of that to get started?
Well, to an extent, because I've been able to at least get this practice out even into other residential homes. And even like I mentioned, I'm with my second clinic. So when I was looking into, expanding into another clinic, I did, present it in a way of it being a way to regulate the nervous system, which is absolute truth. It is that and more, and I present it in the way of utilizing pressure points on the head. To put some context around it so that, to create curiosity and to create intrigue, I tell people, well, it's very similar to acupuncture without the needles, just my hands, where we're working with pressure points. And that does exactly what it is. It creates curiosity. Oh, tell me more, and so that's when, I just, the chance to be able to let someone try it. And from there, they're in,
So
and
you
it
did
does
offer
what it does. Yeah.
you did offer free sessions to the decision makers. Is that how you could actually convince them?
Yes, that is one of the ways to do so. And also, when I was at the second clinic, some of the participants actually had moved from the clinic I was at previously and were there. So what was helpful is during my interview, they were passing by and they saw me in the office and they're like, Vanessa! And then they tell the owners, you got to bring her. She brings some really great stuff. You've got to bring her here. So, the universe coordinates things as such as well. So that definitely helped.
You just jumped to the second burden because presenting it in a professional way and giving trial sessions to the decision makers, that's the first step. But my second question now is, how did you invite the people actually receiving the therapy? Because I do get that they have choice. You can't really force them into, you need to do this, otherwise you're getting kicked out. And what I saw and what I love about your video, Vanessa, as I said before, these people are not typically, they don't look like typical people who are into spiritual healing methods, going from the
No,
yoga
sir.
class to yoga breathing. They're like this street gang,
Absolutely. Yes,
How,
yes.
how did you invite them with such a, holistic approach?
Yes.
Can you share some
Well,
experience?
from day one to this day, okay, from day one, I always start out with asking the question, what do you want to create? Why are you here? What do you want to create for yourself? And I do prep them. And at this point, I already, I've been doing this for a year and a half. So even participants that have already been there, they prep new participants and they say, oh, get ready. This is different. And that's pretty much how I've presented it.
Vanessa has
I
frozen.
think her video is frozen now. Let's see if she comes back. While we are waiting for Vanessa to come back, can someone let me know, are these videos available somewhere? I mean, Vanessa's video, Vanessa's story with all the people she interviews, if anybody would like to use this, where are these videos available? On YouTube. Thank you so much. I have an amazing backend team. It's on the Bars in Business YouTube channel. And I think if you have signed up for notifications to be part of this event today, we will send out a follow-up email with recordings where we'll add, where you can find all these incredible, beautiful videos that we put together. And I just saw that Vanessa obviously dropped. She lost her connection. Oh, here she is. She is back. Let's bring her back on and then let's continue. She literally dropped out in the most exciting moment. You know how to make people curious. Brilliant move. And we would have, no, she's gone.
Yes.
Exactly where the most important information was coming. It's
a reflection of the energy, all the excitement. I love it.
So we could hear you until you said, well, you started with the question and
Yes,
then
yes.
from the
Yes,
question to the
so
first session.
yes, so then from there I just asked them, what do you want to create? And I was going with the statistics in recovery. I remind them, doing the same thing over and over again, you already know what that's going to create. So how about trying something different? And that's where, they really open up and they're like, you know what? Yeah, I've been doing this. This is my second program or this is my third program. And so I tell them, let's explore something different. Let's see what that can create. And from there, it just they really open up. And really, to be completely honest as well, David, I have to also practice the same tools within myself. I have to ask questions. What energy do I need to be? How does it need to be delivered? What does this group require? What does this individual require? And, you know, from there, it moves the energy and it opens things up. And it surprises me just as much as you, David, when I have someone covered in tattoos, big muscles, nice and tough, really, really macho, looking at me and saying, let's do this, let's try it. And then seeing them, you know, come off of the massage table and just looking completely refreshed and rejuvenated and in a completely different space.
Beautiful. So how long do you do the sessions when you're doing it in this recovery program? Is it 1 hour
Yes.
or is it less?
So it is an hour, including the exchange. So they each get 30 minutes each is typically what we're able to do. And we do them every other Friday. We call them Holistic Friday. So we rotate with different modalities. But the access bars is something they get super excited for. And it always amazes me. And it's one of the coolest things to see, David, to see all of the chairs lined up and to see all of these tough individuals just engaging in this and seeing them just in this beautiful space of empowerment and relief and receiving. And it's been an honor. It's been a complete honor to be a part of it.
And it's an honor for us because another thing that I want to share with our audience and our guests today is that you didn't reach out, hey, people from Bars in Business, I have this idea. Can you do this for me? I mean, we found out about you after you have actually implemented it. So you just did it with all the resources you had available. I know there are hundreds of people out there who have similar ideas, and the question we get asked most is, oh God, I have this amazing idea. How do I start? Can I take that opportunity to ask you, if someone asked you the question, how should I start? What would you advise? How would you advise people to from the idea into actually doing it?
Yes. Well, the greatest way that I can answer that, David, in complete honesty, is to ask yourself the question. The person needs to ask themselves, how do I need to present this? How do I need to show up? What does this particular clinic, what does this particular organization need to hear? How does it need to be delivered? Because when you ask the question yourself, as many participants and individuals on this call know, everything starts with the question. And so when you utilize the question yourself, then it starts opening, you know, that awareness and that energy, because every clinic is different. Every owner is different. And so every single person is going to require something different. Some people may need a presentation. Some people may need a taster. Some people may need you to just, you know, with your simple enthusiasm, they're like, whatever that is, let's try it. You know, so it's, you just genuinely got to ask so that you can channel the energy of what's required.
Wonderful. And I know there's also a podcast interview that was done with you. You're our star now. Last question. I know I'm getting messages from the backend team that we're over time, but hey,
that's
I
okay.
have you here live now. If anybody would require some assistance and help, do you offer sessions? Do you help other people getting started in this area? Is that something you already explored? Can people reach out to you?
Absolutely. I'm currently helping. A shout out to Yoli in Pennsylvania. She reached out to me after watching one of the podcasts. And then I have someone that I touched base this week, actually, in New Mexico, that reached out to me. And so I tell them, you know, whatever way I can be here, whatever way I can contribute in order to be able to spread this. I obviously would love to see this grow into lots of clinics all over the United States, all over the world, because these individuals, David, it's really important that I end with this. These individuals are actually highly gifted, which is why they fall into addiction. No one, they didn't have anyone guiding them on their wrongness actually being a strongness, them actually being very gifted. And so when they finally come to that awareness and they finally step into that, all the possibilities start opening for them. So think of what is possible if we can get to more people. So yes, I'm definitely here to contribute.
Thank you so much. And thank
You're
you
welcome.
for being the gift for all these people reaching out and requiring the magic and the possibility of an Access Bar session.
Yes. Thank you for
Vanessa, you
having me,
keep
David.
going. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody.
So, and I hope that Katerina now jumps on here. I mean, in the excitement of interviewing Vanessa, I got lost. What do we have next, Katerina?
Well, we're moving into this new area. So, and it's not totally new, but what we're moving into is looking a little bit, how can you use bars in times of turmoil, conflict, trauma, when really you're contracting, you don't know how to deal with the world, and a lot of things are happening around you. And we wanted to start by first show this video about actually sleeping, how bars can help you sleep, because that's one of the first things you lose when you get really, really worried and you kind of get caught up in the fear. And then right after that, we wanted to show all of you an interview about, I don't know if you remember, but around New Year's, there was a big fire in Switzerland. And there was a lot of young people that died in a nightclub. And a few of our team went there and ran bars just a few days after. So Laura, one of our co-creators, have interviewed them. So we wanted to show you those two sides of that. And then we're going to dive even deeper into this after.
Yeah, I remember the sleep. I think this is why I found bars before, like 11 years ago when I had my first bar session. I so struggled with being able to fall asleep, waking up at night. And I remember my whole, when as an international lawyer, have these big projects and these big closing comings up. And I already knew 3, 4 days before that, I would be just so excited, nervous, concerned that I couldn't sleep. Well, thanks God I found Access Bars because all of that has changed. And I think we are ready now for Access Bars for Sleep, an interview with Dr. Terry Hope, who did some research on sleep.
One of the biggest problems in society today is lack of sleep. This isn't necessarily relating to stress, but also relates to people who are professionals, who have jobs that take them outside the normal, regular sleeping hours, like doctors, nurses, people who travel a lot, like pilots, executives, and flight attendants. They all have dysregulated sleep patterns because of the hours that their job that keeps them from having a normal sleep pattern. One of the challenges with having lack of sleep or dysregulated sleep patterns is it changes people's capacity for focus, concentration, memory, agility, and changes behavioral patterns. Professionals who have chronic sleep changes often have a hard time relaxing and falling asleep or staying asleep. And what that does is it exacerbates the challenges in actually sleeping in and of itself. The less restful sleep they get, the more challenged they become to be able to get that deep and regenerative sleep. And this over time creates exhaustion. What's interesting is that the professionals who require this would never actually ask for something to change their sleep patterns. They keep going no matter what. One of the ways for people to naturally and rapidly recover and change dysregulated sleep and actually have deep and uninterrupted sleep is with Access Bars. I've been researching Access Bars for over 12 years, and one of the things that we found is that Access Bars creates deep relaxation not only in the body, but calms the mind, and people experience deep sleep after an Access Bars session, or if they use it after they have had a long flight or a long shift, it actually re-regulates them even in a session as short as 45 minutes to an hour, and they can actually return to normal functioning as if they had 8 hours sleep. And an Access Bars session is done with a practitioner who lightly touches, places on the head, and it allows the body to relax, the mind to be calm, and then people can actually experience regulation of their body again and their brain which would be indicative of people having deep sleep. We've seen this in changes in brainwave patterns neurologically, where the body calms down, the brainwave patterns slow, and there's this deep level of regeneration that occurs in this specific signature that is unique to access bars, which includes activation at 1 hertz, which is indicative of deep sleep and regeneration. Organizations and individuals who have added access bars to their well-being programs have reported faster recovery and more ease with having sleep and being able to perform their daily tasks not only in their job, but in their private life. I often work 20-hour days doing research, and I added access bars as a way of being able to recover faster from long nights and being able to concentrate better, and I highly recommend it.
So many of you will remember the New Year's Eve tragedy in Switzerland at the start of this year, where 41 people died and 116 others were injured as a fire tore through the crowded bar at a Swiss ski resort in the town of Crans, Montana. Many of these people were teenagers and young adults gathered to celebrate and welcome in the new year. So I'm joined by Angelique Bernard and Teresa Dobrodova, who went there actually to this town within a week of all this happening to run bars on the people who were affected by this awful tragedy as a way to contribute some sort of trauma relief. Angelique, first of all, can you tell us what happened directly after this event and the circumstances that led you to actually end up both being there?
Yeah, when I heard about this accident, I was really shocked and impacted by what's happened. It's 1 hour 30 from my house, and I was really asking what contribution can I be to those people, and asking some friends of mine, would you like helping to send energetic contribution to those people, to help the families, the people who used to have PTSD, etc., people who have been injured. And so after asking some questions, something came to my universe, and okay, what if you can be more than just an energetic contribution right now? What if you can just go physically there and contribute to those people with the tools that can contribute to them, which is access bars. And so I was sending a message to a client of mine saying, hey, I know you have some family there, and I would love to be able to contribute to them. Whoever would like to receive bars after this accident, do you know anyone who would like to receive bars and I can come for free and contribute to them? And he said, oh, you know what, it's a really great idea. Let me organize that. I will ask anyone who would like to receive bars. He knows a lot of people in Crans, Montana. And he organized that. He said, oh, maybe if you come with a friend of you, it would be better. We can run bars to even more people. He said, I think we should maybe come 3 days to run as much as we can. And so I contacted Teresa, and she said yes right away. She didn't know really what happened. She was in holiday before, but she said, okay, yeah, I'll go with you. So I'm really grateful for you, Teresa. I would like to tell you again for coming with me and running bars to those people during those days. Just after the accident, it was really intense also. So yeah.
Wow. So you both arrive. Teresa, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what happened when you arrived, and people that you ran bars on, and tell us a little bit about how that went.
So actually, we were, thanks to Angelique's client, we were well taken care of, and
he was connecting us with the different people. And even the people that we ran bars on, they were, they were willing to tell other people. So in total, we actually ran bars on 20 people. We had 20 sessions, and people of various ages, sometimes teenagers or young adults, even sometimes whole families, their mothers or fathers, and sometimes also people, that were connected to the event in different ways. Some people who lost their friends, some people who were in leadership positions, some people, who needed to represent or who were at the site of the accident while it was happening, actually. So really people who were affected, connected to the event, and also after the event, who had to deal with a lot of things in different ways. Yeah. And, we were there, the two of us, with Angelique, also supporting each other with all the other tools that we have with Access, and running each other's bars as well. So it was truly a beautiful contribution.
Wow. Well, we all know that bars is a great contribution for, towards PTSD. And so, Angelique, what did you notice when you were running bars? What sort of, do you have any feedback that you can give us? How was it received as you were doing this with them?
And it was really interesting and really different. I'm running bars for 10 years now, and it was the first time I was running bars to people after a big trauma, and it was really intense, and it was a before and an after. The change was really big, and you can see that. I remember two people who used to be on site during the accident, so they saw everything, all the people who used to be figuratively burnt, etc. So those people, I could see how they used to be, the stress that they have that was really in their body. And during all the sessions, their gut was moving so strongly. It was a big release of pain and stress, from their body, and their body was loud. So even them that say that was oh, my belly was so noisy and things was moving so much in my solar plexus. And after the session, they said, wow, it's amazing. It changed so much. I was so stressed. I have more clarity now. Everything is less intense, and they could sleep better after that, because they couldn't sleep for 4 or 5 days after this event. So everything was really intense, and the shift was pretty huge before and after the session.
Wow. Gosh, I can't imagine. And what about you, Teresa? Was there anything that you noticed? How was that for you and the people that you were running bars on?
Also very, very different experience, of course. And just what Angelique was saying, plus you could also see, some people came with hands that were shaking, and during the session, for example, they could fall asleep, they could let go, and they were telling us how much calmer they feel, how much less constant thinking and noise there is in their heads. Or if we went out in the evening and we saw these people, maybe in the town, then they would tell us again that they feel much calmer, or that it was actually the first time that they were laughing since the event, and it was so well received. People were so grateful. And some people that did not make it to our sessions, they said, for example, I can't, but you know what, this actually gave me the idea, because I have some tools as well. There were some practitioners of other modalities that were like, okay, now I am going to offer something. So it contributed even more in these very unexpected ways. And yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, ladies. Gosh, what an incredible gift you were, just to be there for these people, and so quickly after this, this happened. And, it's a real testimony to the bars and how it can help in any situation, especially something like this as well. So thank you so much for being here, for sharing that experience for you, and and the feedback that was for them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Angelique.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Well, jumping in. So we're actually going to continue into an area where we have worked quite a lot, which is to bring bars to schools. And for this section, since we're looking more into a bit more intense areas, we are going to look at what it is like to bring bars to a military school in India. And India, it's an amazing activity in India, especially when it comes to schools. So we brought access bars to so many different schools in India already. And this is just one example. So if you're Indian and you've been bringing bars out to different schools, thank you. It's truly amazing the capacity you have to get this into all kinds of different sizes of schools and ages. And this particular school is a military school, and we're going to join Komal, and we're going to see what she has to tell us about that. So how do you introduce a wellness modality to a male-only military school? That's what we're going to explore with our next guest, Komal. And she used like a mix of family legacy and social media, and then partnered with, she's probably going to correct me, Rashtriya Military School to run bars on 250 students there. And today we're going to explore what impact that had, and also how she's trying to make access bars a daily self-care staple for this academy. So how did it all start? I heard you were sharing your work on social media and actually got contacted to come to this school. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, firstly, thank you so much for the introduction. I got so much information when you said that together. Yeah, so I got reached out by a distant family friend who had been seeing our work, and her son studies in that school. So I wonder if something pulled her because her kid studies there. And she later told me that she, as a parent, was very distressed seeing, because they call it under the garb of ragging. There's a lot of like physical stuff that the younger kids have to, do, because they're also getting trained to join the army. Yeah. So her heart went out, and she was contemplating whether she should even send her son or not. But I wonder what she saw when we were running bars in the other schools, and she was like, please. And she made it so, like, after that, she organized everything. I didn't even have to go get a meeting before. She was literally just like, you take a train and just come, and we have your stay, we have everything. And I didn't have to move a finger. And I think that is how easy entering schools can also be.
Yeah, totally. Well, so if you look at the kind of like the nurturing masculine perspective, so in this male-only environment, how did you introduce the idea to these boys of running each other's bars in a way that, was natural and empowered, not so soft and out of place for the context?
Yes, I would like to say the youth manual. We used the youth manual for this class, and the diagrams there were amazing, because when they saw those kids with the bars points, there was an instant curiosity. And I also realized all the kids in the youth manual are of different races and ethnicities, and which was very, like, I could see that creating a lot, because they were like, what the hell are we doing? But then, having said that, there were moments when, they were being very harsh, or like running bars in a very, like, quote unquote, I would say masculine, or, just wanting to shrug the other person. But I think me and my co-facilitator for this event, she's a bars practitioner called Chitra Sethia. This wouldn't have been possible without her. We both literally at one point had to be the energy of like, hey, no, nurturance, like, we're doing this with a I saw the energy in the room flip, wherein it was like, no, you nurture this person for this 1 hour, and then we don't care what you do, but for this 2 hours, you have to take care of this person who's on your lap. And once we were being that, it percolated seamlessly, and then the kids were like, okay, So I saw that happen as well, which was very interesting.
Like the shift in the room.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
literally like we were like, no, this is not how you run bars, and and this is not the energy of this event. It's very different. So yeah, and that just then translated, and yeah, I mean, there were people who were not interested. There were kids who were playing and who were having fun, but then I could see kids deeply receiving as well. And after the event, there's a girl who came to me and she was like, we live in these dormitories and I can't sleep at night. But when I go home, I sleep so well. And then I just told her, okay, just do your implants at night, this point that we taught you. And
Right.
yeah, so just the fact that they could come up and tell us that says something about this.
What did you see? Like, what kind of effects did you see just watching the group and maybe individuals? Like, what did you notice?
Oh, yeah, so much. I noticed that firstly, they were not happy in being in this particular schools, most of them, because they were like, we asked them what is stressful to you, and they were like, just being here can get very stressful. And I was like, oh, I never saw that. Like, it is. And then I was like, okay, cool. So then we also realized that they were, like when the energy changed, and then I noticed that we didn't really have to teach them how to nurture another person. Like there's so much that we already know about nurturance, and once they were doing that, then they were like, okay, are we doing it correct? Or and then some kids were falling asleep and were like, no, it's all fine. And I also know, since we've been talking about chaos so much, I don't try to control it a lot. I know consciousness has my back, so I'm like, okay, let's just have fun and do this, and we'll see what happens.
Well, when you say we didn't have to teach them how to nurture, do you mean that that's something they innately know? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Like we
I
just
get.
know it?
Yeah, I get that we know it. Like when we know that we have that, and and these, and that when we relax into that relaxes them so much. And because after the event, we were taking testimonials, and two of them were coming together and talking about it, and then I was like, okay, and a kid gave us this whole speech on stress, and I'm like, okay, they already know so much, and what we have to just go is just empower them with what they know. It was like this beautifully, like the space of, okay, they know, and we don't really have to do much.
Yeah. Less like talking and more actually action into, well, it sounds weird, but action into being instead of doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if I understood it correctly, both your dad and your brother has been to this particular school. And so how did they react to you going there, or a similar school?
Yeah, my dad is an alumni, and my brother is in the army, but I actually closely saw his training, and when I saw it, I was just potting myself, and like, which is clearing, like using the access tools, and I was like, okay, what will it take to really enter these places, and how easy can it be? Because there were cases of like kids who have left the academy, or have taken their own lives, etc. Like a lot of that comes out. So I think my parents and my brother know that this isn't the easy life. Like they know, so they were pretty okay. Like they were pretty like happy about it in a way, because I have run their bars every now and then, and though they're not like they don't come to me and ask to get their bars run, but then I think what I'd learned is the energy speaks louder than the words here, because even if they don't know exactly what I'm doing, but energetically something's getting created, which is you can't deny that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I did an interview before from Israel where she said a very similar thing, where she said like the bars kind of just showed people that this was what they required. It wasn't so much about explaining or talking about it. It's like the energy of what they were, facilitating just pull people in. Now you're looking at creating this as a daily or a more, regular practice at the school. How are you doing that, and how is it going?
Yes. So firstly, there were no plans, but once we ended, the kids just literally hogged us, and they were like, "When are you coming next? We need a sleeping day in our school." And I was like, okay, and it was like this loud. So now we're just we also want to play with pricing it a little bit for the next time, and see how school responds to us coming in, and pricing it per student. So we're just working on that. I'm also, and thankfully both the admin and the principal here are pretty open, so I'm just going to have a conversation, and we're in that moving pieces period wherein we're just seeing how do we make it work for them, but also make it work for our time, the travel, the everything. So yeah, that's in progress. And how I'm planning it is to have one follow up every year, because what they told me is during September, August, there isn't a lot of academic stress that the school goes through. So there's some leeway time that the kids have. So they recommend that time period when we can do it. So yeah, that's still a conversation in progress with the school at the moment.
Do you also plan to like teach them the bars point so that they continue running it even when you're not there?
Yes, so we did teach them the points this time, but what I did see is that they remember barely like one or two after, yeah, even though everybody got the head chart and everything. So yeah, follow-ups will make them more clear about where the points are, and I'm curious to see what happens then. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you see, like, if you tap into kind of like the future, if this was actually a part of the military, if this was something that was there regularly, how do you think that would change the school and the lives for the kids too?
Yeah, I just want to say once I was having a conversation with another colleague of ours who's Monica Gilliam about this, and she said something very interesting. She said that, you can tell them that they'll become better soldiers. And I saw that as such a curious thing, because people think that if bars enters the military, they'll relax and they won't do anything, or there'll be no hierarchy or whatever. But when she said that, I was like, yeah, that is the energy. They will become better soldiers, because I've seen my brother grow up, and I know what he desired. Like, he wanted to always join the army, so I could see what he gets from the institution also, but then I can still see him get stressed also. So I'm like, okay, how do we make this work for you? So I guess we'd have more nurturing, kinder people in the army as well, and I think that is very possible. Like,
But there is such a good point in Monica, as our common colleague actually said, because stress does not lead you to good decisions or allow you to actually act instantly on things that is required, or choose, strategically for the future. And when you have the clarity that you actually get when you're not stressed, when you've had your bars run, when you actually have that space, that will, create better soldiers, and also possibly soldiers that are actually happier, which would also contribute. Yeah. So are there any other projects that you are currently looking at based on this one? Like,
yeah.
did this inspire you to create something more?
Yeah, I think what we're looking at now, we've done two schools as of now, and what we're seeing is no matter what whoever says, the feedback from the students has been very gratifying for us, and we are looking at going through, because what I'm also realizing, if we know somebody from the school administration, it becomes easier to enter the schools, rather than sending them emails or whatever. I get that engagement, so I'm really looking at this lady herself is very excited about where she can take us next. So I'm like, okay, we just like riding on what they know and just going along. So yes, looking at connecting, engaging more with people, and then using them to enter schools would be what I say. Yeah.
I love that. Like finding an ambassador for this and allowing that ambassador to like open the doors and get this amazing modality in. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. And I can just see in front of me this room full of, so it's boys and girls. Am I correct? Not just boys? It's
Yes,
both
the school,
genders. Oh,
yeah. Now we're having more women in the army as well.
okay. So it's a school for like both boys and girls getting their bars run. That sounds so amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us, and then looking into the future, what else is possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Katrina. Thank you for this. Yeah.
Thank you for this beautiful interview, Bars in Military Schools. What a great idea. Next topic we would like to dive into and explore is the science behind the access bars, because there is science. There are many people out there in the world who were curious enough to go, wait a minute, how does an access bar session actually work in the brain, in the body? What does it do? Access consciousness itself never did any scientific research, deep research. The founders of Access Consciousness, and we will interview them later on, they always say, why do you need proof if this is something you get to choose? So you like it or you don't. And if you don't like it, well, then find another modality that gives you that sense of relaxation. And we know, especially when talking to the corporate world, to medical areas, to military, it can be helpful to have some scientific research available. So we tapped into some of this. We invited Dr. Astrid Wester and Mia De Luca to do some research on how access bars actually works. And in our next video, you will explore some of the science behind access bars.
We invited people and we said, just bring someone that can give you bars, and then we take measurements before bars and after bars.
We are bridging the gap between science and evidence and research. So we're actually measuring vital signs like blood pressure, pulse rate, breathing rate, and what's called heart-brain coherence.
Some people were also very high in coherence. It was absolutely astonishing. I'm Dr. Astrid Wester. I'm from the Netherlands. I work for almost 30 years as an integrative medicine doctor, and I'm with Access from 2018.
I'm Mia De Luca. I am from West Palm Beach, Florida. I have been in Access Consciousness since I was 6 years old. I was actually the first child facilitator in all of Access Consciousness. So that means I have about 20 years of experience in this. I just got my bachelor's in biology, and I'm now living my absolute dream, researching the access bars.
Access bars is about 32 points on the head that you can touch, and if you touch them, then you can get the brain in about a delta state, so that people can recover from anything that they have, that they can release anything that they are not happy with. And that's also what you can see on the HeartMath device, that people relax more and that they come in a high coherence state. The measurements we took was pulse and heart, the blood pressure and the breath per minute, and the HeartMath before, and then directly after bars we did that again.
What happens is you're measuring the heart rate variability, the milliseconds in between your heartbeats. When you're stressed out, when you are holding on to different points of views or picking up energetically everything that's going on around you, your heart rate variability will kind of go out of whack, a little bit irregular. The number will lower, meaning your heart rate is faster.
So you measure the heart rate and also the heart electricity and the brain electricity working together or not. So, and then the device is going to give that a number. Is it working together? Then the number is high. Is it not working together? Then the number is low. So it translates it to a number. A number is not telling a story, but it's for the comparison, compared to before and after. So you can say that with pulse and with pressure, blood pressure, and with breathing, about 3/4 of the population that we tested, we are going better. And with the heart-brain coherence, it was about, I think, 60% going better.
And that happens after the bars because we're releasing the electromagnetic charge associated with different points of views that are now sticking you in your life and in your body and creating stress, creating dis-ease in your life.
And the beauty was also what we discovered is that the brain coherence go up every day that we did the foundation class for everyone.
Hello, and as we're listening to this, actually been running my peace, calm, and gratitude bars. And this is one of the most amazing parts about bars. Yes, you can get a whole session. You can really get, a 30 minutes, 1 hour session, and you can, in times of great change or things going on, literally just find the points for calm, gratitude, and just so. We're actually going to jump into something about that. Who are you going to talk to, David?
Well, next topic is an area where getting a bar session is an incredible relief. We're talking about getting your bars run when a whole country is in panic. We have a bars facilitator, Marco Tessiore, who is Italian, and he happened to be in Venezuela at the beginning of the year. And as you probably have heard in the news, Caracas was bombed January 3rd of 2026 because President Donald Trump took out Maduro. You can imagine what is going on for the people who live there. Marco was there, and Marco immediately had the sense of, okay, let's do something to calm everyone down, to be that contribution that is required when panic takes over. And I remember I myself was in Venezuela last year in September. Caracas, an amazing, beautiful city, people very curious, very creative. But yes, living in a very, very difficult political situations for over 17 years. So what Marco discovered, and I'm going to interview him very soon here, how beautiful it can be if you have actually no point of view. When one country attacks another, there's a lot of taking position going on in society. What Marco created was a space to be with no need of having an opinion, with no need of taking a certain side, just the energy of, well, what if we could just relax and not worry about anything for 30 to 45 minutes?
And that is actually one of the most amazing parts about bars, is that you can find the space to know what's true for you. And hello, Marco. I'm going to jump out so you can.
And here he is, Marco. Thank you, Katarina, and welcome, Marco, our brave, let's say, war hero. I can imagine that being in Caracas, Venezuela, during that difficult, stressful situation, was it difficult? How was it for you? How did you experience that night of the attack, and how did the whole idea come up with organizing a bar session for everybody who was stressed?
Well, that was actually my very first time experiencing a bombing. And the apartment I rent was fairly close with the very first point of bombing. So it was like the windows shaking, these sounds that you know what they are, and sometimes you don't believe it. So I did the things that only probably a European will do, to just lay down on the rooftop and check. Of course, I asked question and it was light, so I could see the fuming. And it was a very interesting situation to be, because when you have tools, you know that you can ask a question. When you have tools, and also you're not by yourself, because there's a lot of people in the world, and especially in Venezuela, using these tools, using bars. So having a community, an online community of people there to even like just text and be in the chat, hey, what's going on? What's happening? Because the most frightening part, actually, to be honest, is for 4 hours, we didn't actually know what was going on. There was no news. There was nothing. I even reached back home, like different country. You heard anything about what's going on in Venezuela? Nobody knew. So having a community, first of all, is really like someone having your back, and you having the back of everyone, like knowing that you're not by yourself, and that's is huge. And someone that invites you, and someone you can invite to ask a question. So there was a moment where I really perceived in my body like the panic of, okay, they're bombing the city. What's that really going on? It's war. What's going to be? And that's where I know that I'm perceiving also a lot about all the bodies and all the people around me. Yes, who does it belong to? And what can I choose here? Oh, I actually can choose to know that all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. That is what actually showed me like, well, your point of view changes your reality and creates your reality. So on this chat, in a certain point, I was like, guys, let's really go on. All of life come to me with ease and joy and glory. And when you mean all, even a bombing. So that was a kind of a shift. And this was these things of like, okay, what's possible here? And the beauty of it, and I'm talking about a community, because in this situation, you're never alone. There are always people. The beauty of Access also is we're an organization worldwide, spread. There is always someone else you can rely on, and you can be there for someone. This is massive, for me at least. So we had to stay home like for a few days. Also, the bigger things that I could recognize knowing a bit the country now is this was not just a bombing in a country. There was like a big trigger of an ongoing PTSD.
Mhm.
The trauma of the war, the trauma of the what they had for 16 years was actually kicked in once again, was actually a trigger for that. So there was not a presence with what actually possibly going on, but it was actually a big energy, a big like a stress from, oh, we're gonna be back again how it was. Oh my God, we are not done. Okay. So the bars can actually open up and change PTSD as well. And knowing that is, okay, we got a possibility, we got an invitation. We know it. Who else should know it, should notice? Who else
Well,
can
you
we?
obviously knew it. You knew that the access bars could actually help people with that. And if I remember it correctly, within a week, you organized what we call bars gifting and receiving, just organizing or calling people together and organize get-togethers where people can actually exchange bars and invite everybody to run bars. You talked about the beautiful community of bars practitioners and bars facilitators in Venezuela. How long did it take you to set it up? How did you organize this country-wide possibility for people to get the bars run? And I also remember that people from a lot of other Latin American countries where the expats from Venezuela lived organized it too. So it somehow became a Latin American movement, not just something in Caracas.
There was a global David, and that was amazing. Also, I'm very grateful to Paula Fumayor, which is a Venezuela living in the States, and she was a big part of it as well. So the idea was like everybody have to notice, and everybody can do this. So I'd be like, hey, to all the community, hey, we can just we can just like set different places around the city where we advertise that everybody can get bars. Be in a place that like you're familiar with, or like be with someone that, because also in that case, the city is not always like safe everywhere. So also was actually aware of it, and so I chose to where to go and where to not, asking questions and be aware of also what people knew about it. So we've been able. It was easy actually, because we all desire it. We all desire more ease. We all desire to be helpful to other people. We all desire to invite other people to the possibility that sometimes situation like this one seems to take away, and they don't. So bars can actually bridge the lie and be like, hey, they didn't take away anything. We're actually in reaction to something. Our body is perceiving that they trigger a trauma. Let's allow us to be ourselves again. Let's get present with bars. 2 days, 3 days. And people keep popping, hey, can I do it too? So we're like 10 of these places in Caracas, 10 in all Venezuela. We have like people that just don't need to be in Caracas to be like, to perceive this effect and don't know what's going on. And to be like, hey, it's time to run bars. It's time to offer the people. It's time to invite everyone. And that was great. And Paula, like invite everyone. We had people in Lebanon inviting Venezuelan people to bars. We're like, how did you go so far? How did you go so lucky? So was actually a global phenomenon, which seriously amazing. And that triggered something else. That triggered a lot of other people being like, what was that? Can we have it again? When you do the next? And so for me, there was like, okay, now people are more aware of a different possibility. This is where the moment we have to keep going. And 2 weeks from them, on the Saturday, 23rd of January, we organized a big bars in the park, which actually was like a stress relief at the park. The Parque del Este, the East Park in Caracas, is a place where like people go for gymnastic and yoga and music and any kind of stuff every Saturday. So it's a massive crowd. We organized to have there about 30 bar practitioners. To me, where was like people coming together, they didn't know even each other. They're just like willing to spend 10 hours, 8 hours at the Basket bars of anyone that is queuing there. This is amazing. This show the strength of a nation. This show the possibility that we can all be. And we organize it in a different way this time. We organize it with like, a Google form. So people could actually choose the time they would come. So we could organize how many of us were required, what the waiting time. And doing so was also a way to invite them to commit. Because a lot of time you propose things to people and oh yeah, this is amazing. They forget about it the day after they text you. Oh, was today? Was yesterday? And like, no. Pick a time, and we wait you for that time. So we did that. About 200 people experienced bars for the first time. We had 300 people showing up in the park in a span of 8 hours. We were just like over the moon. I never seen so many people line up for something they don't even know what it is, but like, hey, there is an energy here. And so that was massive.
That is beautiful, and thank you so much, Marco, for sharing this. I have to say, unfortunately, there are other areas that would probably require that too. You mentioned Lebanon. We talked about the Middle East. We all know what is going on in Iran right now. If there is anyone out there who probably just got inspired, please go and copy what Marco did. Most important, as Katerina mentioned it before we started the interview, this is not about taking position. This is not about having an opinion. This is about being the gift of creating a space where people can relax. So thank you, Marco, for everything you did for Access Bars, for Venezuela, for everyone who received that session. And as I mentioned to the other people interviewed, please keep going. The world needs magic like you. And of course, Paula, I know she's a powerhouse of organization. So if you're listening, Paula, thank you so much for everything you contributed. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And that actually leads into this. So if wherever you are in the world, and if you get inspired by this and you would like to learn bars, there is a possibility of doing that, whether or not you can find, even get yourself to a live bars class. So we have a bars class coming up online once a year. Dr. Dain Heer does the only online bars class that we have. And it's coming up on June 2nd. And we have an invite right now for that class.
Hi, my name is Dr. Dain Heer, and I've spent the last several years showing people how to have more ease in their lives. Wouldn't it be really cool if there were a way that by being with someone and using these miraculous gifts called your hands, you could decrease someone's anxiety, stress, and depression an average of 87% in about an hour. Guess what? There is. It's called Access Consciousness Bars. This particular technique, if you will, I had an experience of it 26 years ago that quite literally saved and changed my entire life and future. That's a bit of a big statement to make, but that's exactly what happened. I was at a very low point in my life and I needed a lifeline. And out of the blue, I saw an ad in the paper. I had an Access Consciousness bar session, and I went from angry, depressed, and suicidal to grateful to be alive in about an hour and 15 minutes. And I still remember looking out the window of my office at the time, right after that bar session, thinking, has it always been this beautiful here? So we're going to have a global bars class that you can take from anywhere around the world as long as you have a partner. And I'm going to show you how to do this. Not only that, we're going to laugh a lot. We're going to play a lot because a lot more change occurs with laughter than tears. But also you'll be with thousands of people from around the world. And there's an undeniable surge, like a tsunami, that occurs when you get together with that many people to do something that's about all of us receiving more, all of us contributing more, all of us getting to experience and know the gift that we are more than we ever have before. So consider yourself warmly invited to the Global Bars class that we will be doing live in Prague and everywhere around the world. And in the meantime, I have a really wonderful, very easy to use tool for you. You probably heard it already if you've ever followed me anywhere. That would be weird if you were following me places. I'd be like, what are you doing there? You're like, I'm following you. I'm a follower. I'm like, Anyway, it's this. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. I suggest using it all day long. Do it for 3 days and let me know what happens. This is truly the beginning of something greater than has ever been before and way more fun. And what if you truly being you are the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires? See you soon, beautiful you. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye for now, and hopefully see you soon in one of the upcoming Bars classes. If you are curious where to find your next Access Bars class, well, there are websites, accessconsciousness.com. You can look for your next Bars class. And you can also check out barsinbusiness.com. We have a few hundred people who have their profiles there all around the world. What is my favorite part of that Bars in Business website, you have this world map, and then you can actually pick your location and see who is close to you by zooming into your country, into your city. And if you're curious enough to come to Dain's Bars class on June 2nd, please remember you need a second person who is with you, because one thing that Bars really requires is someone touching the head. By just sitting on your computer watching, as we do now, it would just be half of the fun. So find yourself a partner and come to Dain's Global Bars class, or check out where you find your next Bars class and check it out. Try it out and then see if it works for you. Another group of people who obviously really enjoyed Access Bars are 500 women in Tel Aviv for the International Women's Day on March 8 in 2025. Michal organized something really amazing. What is that? Well, watch our next video. Katarina interviewed Michal about what she created in Tel Aviv with Access Bars.
Welcome, everyone. Right now, we are going to explore how you take a modality like Access Bars and scale it to 500 people in a government-funded setting. And Michal did exactly that. She worked with Tel Aviv Yafo municipality for International Women's Day this year, and she led a team to support 500 women, including nurses working in high pressure hospital environments. And we're going to look at that whole event and also see why the city has already signed up to do the same thing next year. So welcome, Michal.
Hi. Hello.
So
it's
let's
the birds joined too.
Yes, and you have the most beautiful background. It's like the earth is talking. And one of the things I really like, I just want to start with the actual, event. Here you are, you have 500 participants and you have 14 practitioners. This is like a massive logistical feat. So how did you coordinate the flow of all these people getting a 50-minute, taster session? How did you even do that? Just so people can get the picture in their heads of this event.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was 15 minutes each one of them. We were 14 Bars Practitioners, and we invited each time 14 women to join. And then we did 15 minutes, no talking at all. We didn't explain almost anything, maybe 1 or 2 minutes just to say, explore it. And we started. And we didn't talk the whole time. We looked at each other from time to time, and it was amazing. We did it 5.5 hours the first day, 5.5 hours the second day, and it was amazing how much we could create in 15 minutes. So during that time, we became more and more, it was more and more easy and quick and potent and powerful. And it's just, we finished, we entered, and women waited outside. We finished the 15 minutes, we took 2 minutes, and we entered more. And then they went out, and then we added more. And we had almost we didn't have a break. It was amazing. The energy and the power was so, we just continued doing it, and it was wow. And most of the women didn't know what is access bars. They had no clue what it is, what we do, but the energy of running the bars for 14 women in one time, the same time, 15 minutes, it was huge, really.
What shifts did you notice? Like what did you, for example, when you had nurses on there that may have been in a lot of, stressful environments in their work, not at the moment of the bars, but like what did you notice and what did they notice? What did you hear after?
They're really shocked how fast it can be in 15 minutes, that they have such a quiet in everything. They have such a clear mind, and some of them even came again and again and again because they wanted more. So they came again to the line. There were some that did 4 or 5 times, and most of them were like, wow, we didn't know, what is it, what did you do? And the peace and quiet they had was the most important, the most thing we heard more and more.
You actually, this project also after October 7, you also had a project where you were running, I think, bars in libraries.
Yes.
So how did, like, that was like a call to create calm, basically. So could you talk a little bit about that and how that actually led into this project?
That was a different project.
Yeah.
We had an idea, it's with colleagues, not only me, of course, that we had the idea to do it in the library because it has open space for that, and invite the neighbors to come and just relax a little bit. And also, we didn't explain a lot. We just say, come and clear your mind. And it was so much ease in both projects to bring the people to come and join. There were waiting lists for Bars Practitioners who wanted to do that. And I had a waiting list, really. And they said, tell me when you have another thing like that, let us know. And there was a friend of mine, we even asked to learn the access bars so she can contribute. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I think the magic was that, you just ask for something and you don't care what it is, just something that will let go a little bit and clear your mind. And people didn't ask so many questions, so it was amazing. And the one who received were so ready to receive that made it all so magical. We did it twice. And I have an idea. I have an ask to do it in all libraries, everywhere. It can be to so many people that doesn't know the access bars can explore it. And what contribution will that be?
And I love also the threaded line of Bars practitioners who wanted to contribute, because it really shows that the simultaneity of gifting and receiving, which occurs, always, and maybe especially apparent in bar sessions, like you get a session when you gift one.
Yeah, it was amazing. The friend that learned the bars almost didn't do a lot afterwards. She just so much wanted to contribute in that period of time. So there was a magical time that everyone just asked to gift whatever they can.
Yeah. Well, it's also, if we go back to the women's project, it's rare to see like a city municipality like Tel Aviv fully fund and be part of a holistic project of this size. How did you bridge the gap between like alternative wellness and formal government infrastructure?
Something happened in Israel in the whole world, and in Israel too, in these last 2 years, that people really asked for something. They didn't know what it is, but they were open to receive whatever they can in order to load their nervous system from everything that goes on. And more people ask for that now, actually, for everything, just to get a method that can make them more relaxed. So this is in general what happened here in Israel. So more people are open to hear, to listen. Something was, our minds were we have so much information that we just ask for it more than before. And yeah, that's really interesting. And what happened in this municipality, if the one who produced the whole thing asked his friend, what can he do for 15 minutes with women that doesn't need oil for massage tables and things to have so many preparations? So he thought about Reiki, and a colleague of mine suggested him to do the access bars. So he didn't know anything about it. She explained it, and he said to the municipality that there will be Reiki, that Reiki is a bit more common and people know it, and the access bars. So it was amazing that this is what people waited for. And there were a few people from the 14 people who came who knew also Reiki. And we started with both, but the access bars was so strong. I think there was only one that didn't know the access bars, and the rest all knew it. And the energy just shifted to the access bars most of the time. So it was, the energy asked for it, and we just said yes.
Followed.
Yeah, we followed the energy. It's like now the energy asked to show some
some earth and be outside. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so we have to round off because this is part of this bigger global bars day. If you're watching this,
I want to say also just that it was in Women's Day last year. And they took them all out and did also more things, not only the bars. There was the sound healing, there was the stations. This time I do it again in another municipality, and I will have a lecture on listening to your body and I will introduce the access bars and a bit from the body processes to 300 people from other municipalities. So how does it get any better than that, to take something from, take a day like Women's Day and see what municipalities look for something interesting. So what can that create as an inspiration?
Yeah, and that was actually my last question, because since it was premiered for this year, like that is your long-term vision then, and the libraries. Anything else that you have in your long-term vision?
I don't know. I don't think we have time for all of this. I have so many ideas, and sometimes it just, why don't it happen now? I want it to happen already, and then when you ask and let go, things start to come. And yeah, I don't remember now what ideas I have, but it's like every time I run bars, I facilitate the class, I meet people, I see things, I just have new ideas, because when we are connected to the ask of the people, we can hear them, and then we can follow the energy with that.
Well, I actually think that's a beautiful place to end. Like, you ask and then you relax and you see what shows up.
That's the
And
practice, to relax, to let go.
We all have to practice to relax. Thank you so much for coming on, Michal.
Thank you.
And good luck. And what else is possible? Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So as we were working on this global bar celebration, there's so many stories all over the world that we would have liked to include and that we could have included. So we made a little compilation of some unusual stories about bars, things where people were really surprised from what effect running the bars had. So here you go. Here you get to meet some of those people from around the world again.
One day, one of my clients had treatment-resistant depression. He received an access bar session as a gift, then another one and another one, and he started to come back to life. A year later, he came to an access bars class and said to me, "I'm going to learn this and I will run bars for anyone who gets stuck in the dark room."
One of my clients actually came to me for a bars class, and she had an issue where she wasn't finding work for about 3-4 months before the class. And she got her bars run. Before, 24 hours later, she messages me and goes like, "Dude, what is this? This is supremely amazing and crazy," because she got 3 offers. Her previous job called her with a salary increment, and also 2 other job offers just came through. So it was quite spectacular.
I had a client who got her bars run for the first time, and she described it as her mind getting to go on vacation. And after she had one bar session, she picked up the guitar, which she hadn't done for a long time, and was much more engaged in her creativity and music and art, and it was fabulous.
In one of my bars classes, a participant brought her husband who was sitting in a wheelchair. So when she was gifting bars, she gifted him the bars. And after his first session, right after the session, he was able to get up on his own feet and had not to use the wheelchair anymore until today. How does it get any better than this?
I have a friend who had car accident last year. And afterwards, she wasn't able to drive, she wasn't able to sleep, she wasn't able to do anything. But she was just like, "I will make it by myself, it's okay." But it wasn't okay at all. And after 2 days of no sleep, she came to me with her ask, "Please run me my bars. I will try it." And next day, she was able to drive nearly 60 kilometers. With no fear.
I have 6 years old, young client, super smart boy who was hurting himself, and after 2 sessions he told me yesterday that he doesn't have the need to hurt himself anymore, and he definitely will come for a bar session again.
One of my clients brought her son to see me to have his bars done. He is autistic and non-verbal. And after the bar session at the end of the week, she called me up and she said, "Ellen, I cannot believe it. He used to hit his head with his fist about 40, 50 times a day. Since he's had his bars run, he's done it once."
One of my clients was trying to get pregnant for years. They were trying everything with her husband and nothing was really working. And then she came for a bar session, and a week later she texted me, she's pregnant. Now she has a beautiful boy.
A woman came to me to try Access Bars. She had no spark in her eyes. She was kind of gray and low, and an hour and 15 minutes later, she got off the table and she looked like a completely different person. And the cool thing was that her husband was waiting outside the session, picking her up. And as she entered the car, he just started crying and saying, "Oh, I got you back, finally."
Okay, so we're back and we're actually premiering something right now. Today, we're launching a brand new book. Access Consciousness Publishing Company is launching the book, The Neuroscience of Access Consciousness, and it's written by, I'm probably not saying this correct, Juanjo Zuarez. And he'll be joining us right now, and we're going to chat a little bit about his book. Oh, David came on for a moment, but here he is. Hello.
Hi, Katarina, how are you? It's so nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you. It's early where you are, isn't it?
Yes, I'm early at 9 a.m.
Oh, that's okay. That's
Yeah,
that's an okay time to join us.
it's a good time.
Yeah. So you've written, do you have the book? Could you hold it up if you have it? Do you have a physical copy of it?
I don't have my physical copy yet because it's like something weird here in Ecuador to bring the books, but it's a great thing that we can have it today in a digital presentation, and it's out for everybody. And it's such a like a dream came true with all these tools that are in the book. And it's the real thing that I am here talking to you about this book.
You're so welcome. And I have some questions to you from the book. So my first question is, in your introduction, you described your first bar session as like your head went plop and it felt like it short-circuited. And you're an osteopath and you really train in that like precision of how the body moves and releases. So what was your osteopath brain telling you about that moment?
Well, it was incredible because it doesn't has a bar session. Actually, it was a facilitator session. I was talking with Bruno. He is a CF, and when he was talking to me about the things and he was using the clearing statement, I started sense my nose like wet, and my pulse was changing during the session, and I said, I don't know what's happening here, but my system is changing from this sympathetic method that I was using now to a parasympathetic state of calm. And I said, just talking, and it's something weird happening here. And I start to want to understand what is happening because the change was like immediately and very fast. And that was like for a people who works with the body and with that kind of system and the nerve, it's like amazing the change and the speed. Like it was very fast for me.
Well, and it's amazing because the whole book, you go through all of these different tools of access consciousness, and then you put this neuroscientific angle on it. So, for example, you use this analogy that our brains are like a computer running Windows program. And if somebody is stuck in a loop of financial lack or bad luck, the brain like keeps running, and then the clearing statement comes in and updates. I think you described like updates the software. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, let me show you an example to the people who is here now. Let's do this, okay? Say in your mind, hello, say your name, I am here. Done with your voice, don't open your mouth, just say, hello, Juanjo, I am here in your mind. And see what happens in your body. It's like you have this presence in your body. Let's do the same. Let's say, hello, Juanjo, I'm not enough in your mind. And see what happens. So your brain is listening all the time. All the time. Your brain is listening your thoughts. So when you use the clearing statement, when you use the tools, that the basic tools, let's say, you start to change that information, and you start to change the areas in your brain that are hearing you all the time, that are listening you all the time. So when you start to change all these ways, you came out from survival mode to a creativity mode. And it's interesting because the change made a big space in your brain, and it's in a longer time. It's not just for a seconds.
Right. That was very clear. Even that practice, is that what you call pensation? Pensation in the book?
Sensation. Yes,
Sensation.
Pensation, it's pensation when you thought something and you feel it in your body. So it's a new like a word in Spanish that you say, I think something, I feel it in my body. So the tools design this change in your brain to get out of this space. So you think something and you can stop this thought in your mind.
Well, you also talk about the bars in the book, and you talk about the vagus nerve running through several of the bars access points, like time and space. So for anyone listening to this who is more of a skeptic and just think this is like touching the head, what is the biological significance of stimulating that specific nerve during a session?
Okay, this is an amazing thing because everything that we have in our world, when get in the brain, you have just electrical science. Okay, so it's electricity, nothing else. So when you touch in the, I don't know, joy and sadness, when you touch in times and space, when you go in the implant bars, you are touching a very important nerve for the brain, that is the vagus nerve. So if you touch it softly, you will change the structure of the nerve. If you change the structure of the nerve, you change the way that the information comes into your brain. So the electricity that goes like very high, it goes down and very slow, and that relax your body.
Wow. So my final question is,
Yeah.
This is really the first book to bridge access consciousness with neuroscience. What was the most uncomfortable belief you had to put aside as a medical professional to allow this book to be written?
The thing was with the body process, like was an interesting thing, because like an osteopath or a body worker, you touch in some specific place in the body and you have to wait that the tissue open and change the tension, and you need to do something, you need to move to create this change. But with the body process, you just put your hands and the body changed, and I said, I don't know what's happening here. So it was like the tricky thing for me because I said, I do all these specific techniques to create this change in the body. And now I just need to put my hands, change the energy, and change the body. So it was very, very tricky for me.
Wow, I found your book fascinating, and I really recommend it to anyone who is interested in neuroscience and interested in these kind of energetic techniques that Access Consciousness, have available. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Katerina. It's a pleasure.
And you can find this book on on Amazon. You can find it on ACP's website, Access Consciousness Publishing website. It is now available from today. So if you got curious right now, head over and get your own copy.
Yes, go for it. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I'm back. There you go. I got help because I couldn't remember what was.
Yes, I was just
Welcome,
fascinated listening
David.
to this interview. Thank you so much, Katerina. And wow, it's just amazing to find out. I want to say how it works behind the scenes, and behind the scenes is actually here in our brain. Beautiful, beautiful work you've done, and I literally can't wait to read the book. I'll order my copy right away. What is next on our schedule? Well, as Katerina mentioned, what is being created around the world with people running bars? There are beautiful, amazing, inspiring stories that people reported to us. Our first idea of this global bar celebration was to interview them, to do videos, to bring them on live. And then someone said, well, we don't have 2.5 days. We have 4 hours. So what we did to just give you an idea and probably some inspiration on what else is possible, we've created another video of stories of change, where we picked some beautiful ways on what getting your bars run can actually change in your world. So next video, stories of change. What else is truly possible with Access Bars?
What's up, guys? My name is Andrew Reagan. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and this is my Bars story of change. It all started when I was a football player in college at the U.S. Air Force Academy and Washington State University, and I had been hit in the head so many times I couldn't think straight, I was frustrated, I was irritated, I had brain fog every day, and I knew that I could not go on like this. And so I started to become anxious, I even became depressed because I wasn't being myself and I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. And so I spent a very long time, over a year, trying all these different modalities, all these different tools, and I knew there was something out there that was just gonna rock my world. And when I finally got my bars run, my whole world changed. I finally felt calm, peaceful, relaxed, my brain was working again, and I was like, oh my gosh, I finally wanna be alive. So I got my bars run every day for as many days as I could, and my whole world just kept expanding and getting better, and I was thinking more clearly. And I can confidently say today, my brain is working the best it's ever worked. My memory is incredible. I'm a lot more at peace. I'm so much happier, and thank God for Access Consciousness Bars, because I would not be who I am today without it. So if you've never had your bars run, please go check it out. It's amazing. The worst case scenario is your whole life will change.
Hi, my name is Samantha Maria, and I am a Bars Facilitator from Brazil. In September 2025, we held a bar event at the biggest hospital in Latin America, the Hospital das Clínicas. We had 33 practitioners, and we gifted sessions to 243 people. All of them were invited to answer a feedback form. 60 people answered. They say they would like more events like this, and they would even pay for it. 100% say they left feeling lighter, more relaxed, and better than when they arrived. They all say the event and the bar sessions were great or excellent. What would it take to bring bars to all the hospital in the planet? How can be better than this?
Hi, my name is Carla Lightfoot, and I'm an Access Bars facilitator in New York City. I have been facilitating and running bars for about 7 to 8 years now, and I wanted to share a story about a client of mine who was diagnosed with MS at age 24 and showed up on my doorstep 20 plus years later. She had been having difficulty walking over a number of years, sometimes felt like the ground was just going to drop out beneath her, that her feet were just going to crumble, and sometimes it was worse than others, but she hadn't been able to hike and walk, which is something that she loves to do. And so I ran her bars. We ran her bars about 3 or 4 times, and it completely changed her life. Soon after, maybe 6 months after working together and also providing her with some tools, she wrote me that she had walked her 1,500 mile and that she was so grateful for me and Access Bars, and that everything had turned around for her, and she knew it was changed, and she has been walking ever since up until now. And I'm so grateful for the bars and so many stories of change, and so happy for her. Thank you.
So when I found Access Consciousness, I was about 26 years old, and would wake up every morning with a lot of anxiety. I woke up every morning with depression, like the sense of the world ending. And I had no reason why. So I was successful, I was young, I had absolutely no reason why I would be depressed or anxious. So I went to a doctor and he said, your brain is just different and it's not balancing. So the only way to balance it is if we put you on medication. So they put me on, they tried like 3 different medications, Lexapro, Prozac, all sorts of stuff. They would try it for 6 months, the anxiety and the depression would come back. So then they would up the dosage and add in different medications. So I think after about 2 years, I was on a dosage and a half of Prozac plus Xanax in case some anxiety attack came that I couldn't handle. And then also sleeping pills in case I couldn't fall asleep at night. Plus I was also occasionally self-medicating with like alcohol and whatever just to get through the day without having this like intense stuff going on. You know, after a couple of years of that and none of it was working, somewhere in my world I knew something else had to be possible. So I started asking some questions and looking around, and I have a family of weirdos who try all sorts of different modalities. And this one lady, I called and I had a session with her, and she said, you know, I have a question for you. She said, you know, do you live in an apartment building? Yes. You know, what's going on at work? She was asking me all these questions, and she said, do you know, there's this new thing that I've tried. It's called Access Consciousness, and there's a question that they ask, and it's, what if 98% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't actually belong to you? And at the time, I was like, oh my God. So that was the first doorway into access consciousness. And then the next step was actually getting my bars run. And the first time I had my bars run was the first time that I ever actually had a sense of peace, just being me. And that was 15 years ago. And it's a constant tool that I use in my life, because what I learned from that is that I'm aware of the entire world. And the medication that I was taking was trying to help numb that awareness and dilute it so that I could actually, be happy, have a sense of peace. So now I don't take medication, obviously, and I use the questions of access consciousness and access bars to have that sense of ease with the awareness of the world around me, so that I know that it's not mine and that I can change it.
Beautiful stories of change, and I know we are all getting ready to hear Gary Douglas and Dr. Dain Heer, the founders of Access Consciousness. They are getting ready as we speak, and to give them a little bit more time and also give you another sneak peek into what else is possible with Access Bars and the tools of Access Consciousness, there is a last video that we have for you, an inspiration, an invitation to probably consider what else is truly possible if you start acknowledging what do you actually know and what do you want to create in your life. And if you know anyone out there who might be interested in more of what we've been talking about the last 3 hours, share the link. There are 7 minutes until the grande finale, where Dr. Dain Heer and Gary Douglas will be our guests, and then we can ask them all the amazing questions about that incredible method called Access Bars, how it came along, what their vision was, and where they want to see the world using Access Bars as one way to relax, get ready, prepare themselves, and find themselves, find out who they truly are. So join us now for a beautiful final video before we get ready for the big interview.
Hello, beautiful you. Get the sense of being out in the forest, deep, deep in the woods. While you're here, you have no reason for walls, barriers, or anything else. You hear the birds chirping, the insects buzzing, the lizards scurrying around. You notice the soft, sweet melody of the leaves rustling in the wind. You are home, and you know you're not alone in the most wonderful of ways. There's a sense of not only total peace, but a sense of connection with everything. Be with that for just a moment. Having a sense of you getting to be everything you are, no longer alone, nurtured by everything around you. While you're there, breathe in the forest. Breathe with the forest. Breathe with the earth. Let our home contribute to you. Just notice all the plants, all the animals are with you and contributing. Being this beautiful space of just being what they are. Just being is a contribution. And now what I'd like you to do is notice you, notice your space. Notice the ease of having it and being it. And there's nothing to think about, nothing to have as any mental thought. any structure. You get to just be. So right now, what if you were to ask for everything that you can access from and as that space with you in the forest and the earth, and just be with it for a moment, maybe even enjoy it. Now ask yourself, what would it be like if I were to undo this thing that I have created as this solid, structured me? What would it be like if I could be free to be who, what, where, when, why, and how, and beyond it, beyond the who, what, where, when, why, and how, that is what I truly be? So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to unzip your body from behind and step out as the light being that you are, the being of consciousness. And then, rather than just having a light being light body, let it go as big as your being wants to get, as big as your being knows that it is, as big as the real you knows it is. And notice as you do how the forest is like, this is awesome. Like, yay, you're here. Kind of like in the movie Cocoon, except you get really big all of a sudden, and you're all light, expanding through the entire forest. The forest speaks to you. The forest receives from you. The forest speaks through you in something far more beautiful and wonderful than words. The forest is alive even more because of you being there. Does that being need to fear anything or anyone? No. Does that being need to think? No. That being enjoys being for the sake of being. Now for a moment, get a sense of the you that you were pretending to be before you unzipped, before you expanded the you that you've been calling you your whole life. That person who was out in the forest having peace. But once you unzipped and came out and got bigger, how much more did you connect with the forest and the entire earth? And for some of you, maybe the universe or universes. Notice how different that is. Expand that even further. One of the things I've heard is that you might actually be an infinite being.
Nah.
Crazy, right? Infinite.
Or not.
Now, get the sense of, sorry by the way, zipping you back up at this point.
Good.
I know, I hear you. You're like, why would I go back to that? I can't. I'm not going back to that tiny thing. But, my friend, notice how it doesn't have nearly the same angst, the same charge, the same point of view. It doesn't have the same solidity or need to maintain a reality as it did before. Because now you know you can unzip you. And when you access that space that you are when you unzip, you can't compress yourself into the same compressed lie that you were functioning from before. And you always know you can unzip again at any time. And this is where something beautiful called choice comes in. Hey, by the way, you never were a tiny thing. You've just been pretending your entire life. So all you got to do is get a sense of you in the deep forest, unzip and expand, and have more of what you truly are. Anytime, any place. And all it has to take is less than a second. This is your choice, my beautiful friend. Let choice begin.
let the choice begin. What a beautiful way to continue our journey of Global Bar Celebration. And Katerina, I think we have Gary Douglas and Dr. Dain here ready to join us. Meet the two people who came up with all of this. Because of you, Gary and Dain, welcome. We are here today. Thank you so much for being our guests today.
I'm sorry.
It's his fault, actually. He did it.
I did it.
It is, and we
Yeah.
just finished a beautiful journey around the world. Thousands, 10,000s, 14,000 bars practitioners around the world, an endless number of people running bars. We've heard stories of people running bars in hospitals, in clinics, even in the sports and athletic field. Bars made its way in. We heard people talking about how they use it with post-traumatic stress syndrome after bombing attacks. This is a global, worldwide movement available in almost every area of life. So we also heard that you, Gary, started this in your garage about 30 years ago. I was wondering, did bars actually develop as you have planned it according to your business plan 30 years ago? Or are you
This is part of his
surprised where we
30-year
are today?
plan.
This is part of my 300-year plan. I actually didn't have a plan. I just started. I actually was channeling at the time it first started, and I got a call from a guy in New York who wanted me to come and do a channeling for his massage therapist while he got a massage. I said, okay, so do I have to take my clothes off? Do I have to look at your body? Do I have to have my eyes open? Or what? He said, no, you just have to tell my massage therapist what to do. So I closed my eyes, I went into channel mode, I started channeling, and the bars began to be talked about. And I was like, interesting. I had no idea what to do. We went out to lunch afterwards, and I felt this slap upside my head like I'd been hit between the ears with a 2x4. Bam! This is a class, you dummy. Okay, I got it. Bam! This is a class, you dummy. Okay, fine, I'll do it. I swear to God. Just don't do that again. Bam! Do this class. As soon as I get home, I will do the class. So I got home, and I called up 4 friends, and I said, I'm doing a class. On what? Energy work? Notice that was not a statement. And I said, how long is it? 3 days? And how much is it? $75? None of those were statements. All of those were questions because I had no idea what I was doing. And so I started and I channeled all the information about doing the bars. And that's how it all began. 30 some odd years ago.
And then tell them about when they left in the middle of a class.
Yeah. And then after about 6 months of doing classes where I just had to sit there with my eyes closed, they said, okay, that's it. We're done. You get to work. And I said, what? No, I don't want to get to work. I don't want to get to work. And they left and they didn't come back. And I had to get up there and figure out how to do things and get it working. And I did. And that's how it all began.
Yeah. It's been a lot of people making a lot of choices ever since.
And it's like I love the fact that it's in so many countries at this point in time. I think we're in like 179 different countries, and there are only 193 in the entire world. So we're doing pretty good.
So, Gary, like looking at this worldwide phenomena, what is it with the bars that makes it like transcend culture, transcend religions, transcend borders, work in any kind of circumstance?
Well, it's like it's working with the energies of our bodies. And we all know that we have thoughts, feelings, emotions, but we don't know why. And we don't actually ask the question about that. We always try to figure out what's the purpose, what's the reason why we should or shouldn't. And the one thing that I became aware of in doing the bars is it didn't matter what your point of view was. If it was relevant, it would disappear as you ran bars.
Wasn't relevant, it would disappear. And that right there. If it's not relevant, goes away.
Yeah.
Well, and also many of the stories today, or some of the stories, have been about kids and running bars with kids.
Yeah.
So what's the most surprising thing that you two discovered when you've been running bars on kids over the years?
They're smarter than adults and they're quicker. And they
Way
get it.
quicker. Yep.
I've had notes from kids that were in class and I said, could you have a class for just kids? These adults are too damn slow.
Literally, we
Yeah,
have
literally.
notes from kids saying that. And the thing about kids is it's interesting because they'll just let it happen because they don't know it can't.
And they don't have a point of view about what it's supposed to do. They only know that they can experience something and they experience it. I get a big kick. There was a lady in New York. She had a boyfriend. He had a son. He brought his son to New York City and and his son tried to grab the suitcase and got hurt. And so he said, well, let Elspeth work on you, son. She does magic. And she started to work on him with bars and stuff and energy work. And the kid said, Dad, this is not magic. This is science. I can feel it. Therefore, it's real. Therefore, it's science. Which I thought was amazing.
This is a beautiful bridge we had. You probably know that today a new book got launched about exactly that topic. That nowadays people find out what a bar session actually does to your brain, how it actually activates the vagus nerve. So when you started, you had none of this scientific
No.
proof. How did you find out, or how did you keep yourself
Put my
going?
fingers on the spots and went, okay, something's happening. I hope. I would sit there for a while and go, how's this feeling to you? Oh my God, so much stuff is changing. Okay, cool. How's this bar feeling? Oh my God, it's so hot. Okay, cool. I had no idea. I had no awareness of what was going on. I was the least competent person who ever came to Access. I could sense nothing. And I learned to ask questions.
And he just kept going. It wasn't like, oh, this is proven, therefore I'll do it.
No.
It was, I'm doing this. I wonder what this will create.
Yeah. And it's like, and I learned from each and every person that came what created for them, what happened. I had one lady who came and she was having terrible problems with her body and stuff. And I did some sessions on her. I did about 10 sessions on her. And I finally went, I don't think I'm accomplishing anything. Why the hell am I doing this? I said, okay, so, it's like, are you getting anything out of these sessions? Oh my God, you have no idea. I said, okay, well, tell me. She said, after the first session, I lost the pain in my feet that I've had for the last 15 years. I said, what? She said, yeah, but I was afraid to tell you because I thought it might come back, but it hasn't in 15 sessions. Bitch, it's like she wouldn't tell me because she thought it would go away. And I thought it was hysterically funny because I finally realized, wow, this is working. Whether I know it is or not, it is working. And I was always in the curiosity of what's happening here, not what am I doing?
Could you imagine, being in Gary's position, you get this information. You have no idea if it's doing anything. You just know you need to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then 30 years later, or decades later, you get scientific validation.
Yeah.
But after decades of seeing what it does, scientific validation is totally irrelevant.
Yeah. It's not, it's only relevant to those people who need science.
The stories have changed.
I like magic. Magic.
Yeah, me too. But the stories have changed. That's what today's been all about. It's like
the stories have changed.
What study is going to make all that shit happen,
Well, we heard your story, Dain. We saw a clip of an interview where you spoke with Shannon O'Hara, where you found this little advertising in a newspaper, and then you picked up the phone. But I think there is a tiny little, there's some more to that, because you didn't see it and go, oh my God, this is what will help me. What is the real story of this advertising?
The real story is because the ad said, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory.
And that's
and I was like,
sad.
fuck you. My life is pain, suffering, and glory. I hate you. And I literally got so angry. I grabbed the paper and threw it in the trash. Came out the following week, and all I see is this little ad. That was the only thing.
It wasn't that big. It was that big.
I mean,
it was one fucking line. It was a
Yeah.
$6 ad.
Let's put it this way. If it showed up today, I wouldn't even be able to read it. Okay. So glad that happened when it happened.
When you still had eyesight. Yeah.
You know, and I mean, there was something that also clicked simultaneously the second time when I read it, of the idea, if you love something or you hate it, there's something in it for you. And I was like, okay, fine. So I called.
Okay, I'll do it.
I had a session that, oh, no big deal, just literally saved my life, took me out of being suicidal, but it gave me an experience that I couldn't describe if I tried, but I went from the ugliness that I had been living to the sense of the beauty of what I knew should always be possible that I wasn't seemingly able to create. And it was just there. I was like, holy shit. Like, you know, you have this thing, this interaction with somebody, an hour and 15 minutes later, you go from angry, depressed, and suicidal to grateful to be alive. And I remember looking out the windows going, has it always been this beautiful here? And I just knew something was so different. I'm like, okay, I'm in. This is a world I can create with this, you know. The other stuff, I just wasn't going to do it anymore.
So looking at that, like the first few sessions in the beginning, and today when you receive a bar session, is your experience different? Now, like 20 years later, thousands of sessions later, is the experience of receiving bars different for you too?
Yeah, my whole life changes every time.
Yeah, I would say something similar. Because one of the things bars does is it opens you up to more receiving without definition. So it's like, oh, there's something. Okay, cool. I can be with that. Oh, I can receive that. And if anything, it seems to actually be more dynamic. Now, but also, if you look at the comparison for me from where I started in that depressed, suicidal place to not, that was, I mean, I will always, always, always remember that and have
Well, that
massive
was probably
gratitude.
the most dynamic change you'd gotten in your whole life.
It was up until that point.
Yeah.
It definitely was. Now, having done bars and a lot of other access stuff and facilitating, I've had far larger changes than that since then. But each one of those opens up more space where the bars contribute more and more and more.
So is there a telltale sign that makes you to go, I need to have my bars run? Like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I get cranky.
Me too. And one of us, there are times where,
And if I yell at David Kubis, I know I need my bars done.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. If you find yourself yelling at people, you might go, maybe I should get my bars run. Because here's the weird part, right? So in any of us, Gary included, me included, it's like we can be different in the world if we choose. In other words, so that very thing, like let's say one of us is cranky and one of us will look at the other and go, hey, how about if I run your bars?
And I always go, no, touch me.
And if he says that, I'm like, guess what? I'm running your bars. Okay. And at this point, you know, we have that communication with us. It works really well. But here's the interesting part is if you look at whatever situations of life, whatever cranky, when you're cranky, after bars, it's all different. It's like
you lose cranky.
Yeah, it goes away. Why would you put that much energy into being unhappy and being angry?
It's fun.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
It's fun to be cranky and unhappy.
That was the first 30 years. Sorry, but you know, it's like it's so interesting to me that seemingly the situations are exactly the same, but after bars they don't seem the same. But here's the weird part: is after bars, they're not stuck anymore. The weirdest part is like, we all know what it's like when you get cranky, you know, and you want to like separate from people and you're just like, get away from me. And nothing looks like it works. You get a bill that you weren't supposed to. You'll check your account and be like, wait, it's $10,000 short or whatever. But the weird part is the space you be after bars, you look at your account, you're like, hey, they returned the money. oh, that bill, I called them. They said they sent it by mistake. It's literally, it
Weird
changes the
things happen.
space,
Weird things happen.
changes what goes on around us because of the space we get to be.
Yeah.
And that ties into your point of view creates your reality. Reality doesn't create your point of view.
Yes.
Yep.
Totally.
Exactly that.
And with right under Katerina. I can't read the name.
Susan, Italian translator.
Ah,
Yeah.
Susan, Italian translator. Hi,
Yeah.
Susan.
Hi,
Italian
Susan,
translator.
Italian translator. This is us.
We are translating this into 19 languages.
That's so great.
Have
So
you ever,
cool.
when you started this, Gary, or when you came along in the video, we saw you had 3 facilitators and were in 3 countries. Could you ever believe that this will become a worldwide movement, or did you visualize how big it would be?
Everybody told me it couldn't.
Okay.
You can never be that big. You're not that person. You're not that great. You can't be that big. I went, okay.
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 Thank you.
Whatever you say. But what I noticed is that what happened is someone in the US knew somebody in Italy, and they'd call their friend, and their friend would say, "What's happened to you? You're different." They say, "Oh, I found this stuff called Access, and I get my bars run now." They say, "Oh, how can I find that?" What? I don't know how it happened. It's like literally the dandelion as the flower of access is there because that's the way it works. You blow on it, the seeds go where they go, and it grows where it grows, and we have no control. And I like that.
Well, what do you say is and was your energy to keep going? Like, what is it that gives you that fuel? Both of you.
For me, it's just I can't give up. I know that things are changing and they are getting better. How do I know? Because Trump is no longer the perfect guy. You know, I know that we're changing something. I don't know what we're changing, but we're changing something. People are willing to see him in a different way, where I thought that was never going to happen.
And for me, it's a similar thing. I don't know why, but I'm never going to stop. I have such a demand for more.
Yep.
And that more is not more houses, more cars, more followers, more whatever. It's more for all of us. I know we're capable of something way different. And the interesting part about bars for me is it does something nothing else I've ever experienced does. It shows you that it connects you to that universe of more being possible. And I know what it was like for living without these tools. And also the other part for me is, one of the reasons I create a lot and try to put as much out there and make it available to people, because when I really needed the tools, I couldn't find them until I was almost at the end of my rope. And I want people to know you don't have to live in suffering. You don't have to live in poverty. And it sounds, it can sound like
it's very sweet and,
but it's really,
candy coated.
Oh,
yeah,
my
poor
old
thing.
cranky grandfather.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. But it's actually not candy coated for me.
No.
It's like, it truly is. It's like, guys, there's so
Yeah,
much
I
more
see all
available.
kinds of people change, and I see people who don't. It's like it's fine. I ran my sister's bars at one time. So, well, that was a glorious waste of time. Cool. Thanks, sis. See you later. Bye.
Dude,
So
look
in
at
one
that.
of the videos, where Ryan T, he's from Malaysia, was giving a bars class to only medical doctors, and the one thing he mentioned is he obviously heard from you, Gary, don't sell access bars,
Yeah.
invite people to it. So
Yeah.
having an audience of hundreds of thousands of people around the world today, what would you recommend how to introduce? We all want more. How do you
I'm
introduce
doing this weird wild wacky thing called access bars, and it really helps. Would you like to try it?
Beautiful, straight to the point,
Straight
no
to the point. No, yeah.
explanation, no
It's just like
proof.
with the sex you have, David. You walk up to somebody, say, "Hey, would you like to play?" And they go, "Yeah." Done.
or no. And I think that is the second part
Yeah.
that I literally learned out, that the level of allowance and not looking at access bars is the solution that everybody
Yeah.
needs. You
Well, it's not as
literally give people
it's
choice.
never going to be a solution. It's a choice for possibility that people will either choose or not, and it's their life, not yours. And you can't control people.
As much as you may want to and think you should.
And I think I should, because if I were God, this would be a much better world.
Happy planet.
So
that allowance, that willingness to receive a no and go, okay, cool. Everybody's got to choose what they choose when they choose what they choose.
If they choose it.
Yep. And you don't have to get upset about their choice. Their choice should be theirs. It should be their life. Let them choose.
So for someone looking like at the news or the world, the state of the world right now.
Oh, why would you look at the news? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, if they do, or
if somebody
just
doesn't want to be happy, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
If somebody comes to you and goes, hey, I'm too happy, what do you recommend for that? Hey, watch the news.
Watch the news. So say somebody was stupid enough to watch the news and they're like overwhelmed by the state of the world. What is one thing that you know about consciousness that could change their perspective?
Well, if you run their bars, you say, hey, I have something that might help make this easier for you and give you more clarity and ease, I think. Would you like to try having your bars run?
So we've done a tour, a world tour of areas where people applying the bars, sports, hospitals, prisons. If there was one additional area where you would like to have bars more available, where else would you like to see bars being applied?
Everywhere. See, it's like I don't say that there's a place where bars need to be applied. I think there's a possibility that can be created in the world if we apply bars. So apply bars wherever you can. Run a set of bars. Yeah, if you run somebody's bars once, it will continue to work on them for the rest of their life, whether they like it or not.
And what would occur? Like we know that 175,000 people actually been to a bars class, which is absolutely amazing. So
pathetic.
So what if we double that? What would that change?
What if we quadrupled it?
What if we
whatever it is, it's going to create a difference in the world for the level of consciousness is here. People will have less violence, less crime, less sickness, less of everything, and more of possibility and choice. And those are the things we really want in life. Less bullshit and more possibility. In my estimation, whatever that means.
I like that. Maybe that could be a new tagline. Bars, less bullshit, more possibility.
Yeah.
That is what access bars really gives you. It gives you choice. We mentioned it. Bars is the one thing that works everywhere. There is no no culture, no religion, even the language barrier. It is the one method that literally works everywhere.
Well, I love it. I love it that we got kicked out of China for being a cult, which is very funny. And because it was advertised as a multi-level marketing plan, which they don't do in China.
And neither do we.
And we never do either. But these people in China wanted to make it what they wanted to make it, so they did that. And so we got kicked out. But they found that bars worked, so they put it into hospitals, and they're now doing bars in hospitals.
In China.
And another beautiful way of how conscious.
They discovered it. It wasn't us.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they're taking credit for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Who cares? The beauty of consciousness, the beauty of bars is it's not about who gets credit. It's about it works if you do it.
Yeah.
Period.
If it works,
that's it.
Work it.
And that is all we care about.
Yeah.
People are doing it. It's like, oh, well, consciousness has an amazing sense of humor. That's all I got to say.
It sure does. Don't you like the fact that Dain and I got dressed in separate rooms, yet our shirts go together? How weird is that?
Hello. If
You know,
we only
Gary,
shared a brain.
We didn't talk.
Nope. I did not call him and go, hey, we're going to be on bars. What color are you wearing? Well, I've got a bright fuchsia. No.
you know,
That's
Gary,
part of what happens when you're present and connected with people. You'll vibrate on a particular wavelength that allows some very interesting things to happen.
Truly.
you know,
Cool.
Gary, you often say that you'll be successful when everybody uses the tools and nobody remembers your name.
Yes.
And I think that is like, let's get it everywhere.
Yeah.
in the world.
I want it everywhere. I would like to see it everywhere. I mean, it's like the stuff that they did in the prison was amazing. They got results that they hadn't ever gotten before. And why wouldn't she use it?
I mean, and the stories today, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so cool because it's one thing to be on the side of providing it. It's so cool to see people taking it, using it,
And running with it.
running with it in their own unique sphere of influence. That because each of us has a unique sphere of influence that when we are willing to add something like bars to it, oh man, what a gift.
Oops, no, I thought you were frozen. It is a gift, and we also know, Dain, you're going to facilitate every year you do an Access Bars class where people can actually find a partner and do an online. This year it will occur on June 2nd. If you can't wait to learn or experience it, just go on the Access Consciousness website or Bars and Business website and find a Bars practitioner or a Bars class. As you've all probably heard today, try it out is probably the best way to find out whether it works for you or not. If there is anything you both could wish for before we ramp it up here, what would you like the world to be in a year from now?
I would like the world to be a place where there's more consciousness, less war, more possibilities, and more choices, and less need for stupidity.
I'll have what he's having.
Me too. I'll have what you guys are having.
Me too.
I like it.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much for joining us here today.
It's a pleasure. And it's like you guys are so wonderful. And I'm so grateful for all of you who are involved in this because I know it will create a different world. And that's what we're interested in, a different world.
Yeah. Thank
What
you.
he said.
Thank you.
Please.
Right back at you.
Really. Thank you, guys. Are you trying to do the hearts? Wait.
I'm trying to do the heart. I
There.
don't do a heart very well.
There you go.
How's that? Okay, good.
Beautiful, wonderful. Thank you so much both for joining
Thank you.
us. Thank you
Thank
for being
you,
here
guys.
today. And we will keep going because what I saw today, even being involved in this, I am just blown away of what people can create and are creating out there. And if anyone out there got inspired, if there is one thing you hopefully learn is go and run with it. But don't forget to share with us so we can probably add you in our next year's bar celebration, where we will, of course, keep going, sharing, and inspiring each other on what is going on around the world with Access Bars.
And I like to thank everyone has been involved today, creating today, everyone who is running bars all over the world, every single bars facilitator, everyone who's like getting these projects into the most unusual places that we didn't even think bars could be run, like all of you. This is really what creates this, is everybody taking bars and bringing it to the world. So amazing. Like every time we start gathering stories, I get so inspired and just perceiving what it's creating in the world through those stories. So yes, tell us the stories and go out there and play with bars. Ask somebody, I could run your bars. Would you like that? Like Gary says. And then
Exactly.
yes or no. That's always the question.
Well, thank you so much also, Katerina, for moderating this beautiful, amazing celebration today. Thank you to the amazing tech team and all our translators. Can I just say how beautiful, amazing, and brilliant you are? 4 hours or 3.5 hours of amazing stories, interviews, stories of change and infinite possibilities. I am looking forward to next year's celebration, whatever that will be. But I know with all these powerful people that are available and getting to work, being unstoppable with creating ease on, on our world for other people. I can't wait to find out what is going to be created. So please don't forget to share with us whatever magic miracle you're out there. Thank you so much, everyone.
And if you've never had your bars run, if you just ended up here, or if you're watching this video after, go to accessconsciousness.com/bars. I'm saying that correct, right? And you can find out more, or you can go to barsinbusiness.com and you'll find out more about the bars and try it yourself. So we hope to see you somewhere at some point in the future.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.